What's up, and welcome to Chatterbox 19. Thank you for joining me here on another Friday night, 7:30. Actually, on time this time. I think. What is it now? 7:33. So not quite on time. I'm getting better though. I have to say that I will give myself a little bit of praise there and say I'm getting better at these timings. I did tell a number of people. A couple of people were asking me during the week. They were like, "Listen, are you, what time is your Chatterbox starting at?" And I said 7:30. So because I said that, I said, well, I'm gonna have to be on time now this week. Next week, we'll see what happens. Following week, again, we'll see what happens. But what we need to keep up is obviously being on time. But you know me, unless I explicitly state that I'm going to be doing a live show on a Friday night at 7:30. Sometimes you might stretch it to about 7:40. I think that's probably the latest I've come on, is it? Maybe 8 o'clock. I try to come on as early as possible. But look, sometimes these things happen, life gets in the way at times, and you just had to say, all right, I'll park it there for a couple of minutes. But I very much so appreciate everybody that comes in here, gives up their Friday night. I mean, I don't take that lightly. I really don't. And honestly want to thank everybody that's in here listening now. And obviously the people that listen throughout the night. There's a lot of views that get done throughout the night on this channel, particularly with the lives. And I very much so appreciate that. And of course, then during the week, a lot of people obviously watching it over the course of time. And that's why I want to keep them a little bit more concise and bring them down to the 2 hours so that people don't feel like it's too much before they get on to the next one, which is the next week. As I said as well, I'm just keeping you up to date with things as well. Next week should be where the podcast actually starts, insofar as the podcast being loaded up, or uploaded, I should say, to Spotify, as far as I know. And I think the other one's called Podbean. I'll have to double check and triple check on that one. But I'll let you know. I'll do a video on it and let you know. Big news obviously coming out this week, and I'll be talking about it this evening. And it seems, as I keep saying, every week we come to a Friday and there's been some pretty big changes in what has happened during the week. And there's a video going to be released talking about the incident at East Wall, which was, if you haven't seen it by now, an individual driving a car. We'll talk about it here tonight. And the fallout from that. The fallout from that has been quite interesting to watch, because everybody on our side has witnessed that incident, and it's just been totally underreported. So it's up to you to report that. And that's why I'm going to be doing a video. I sincerely hope anybody else that's out there that has a YouTube channel would also do the same, because what you're going to show people is then there's more and more people waking up to this sort of behavior, and the people that are perpetrating this sort of behavior. You've had an entire week go with the media and people in government, specifically Paul Murphy, talking about Tommy Robinson coming to Ireland and doing a bit of work, I think, for Rebel News here. Now, my opinion is this: he's here to do work for Rebel News, as far as I'm concerned. Other than that, I don't really have any sort of care nor thought towards it at all. And I think if he's going to keep up with the Rebel News work, which is usually what Rebel News do, is they turn up to these protests like the one that's going to be happening tomorrow, and guys like him are going to be asking questions of the people that are there. Very simple ones. I will say this: I do agree with an awful lot of people that are out there on our side that are saying we don't really need a Tommy Robinson character across here. You can do that yourself. And I wholeheartedly agree. I think what Philip Dwyer, for example, has been doing has been very effective when he goes to these people and talks to them and shows people through the live streams as to what they're up to and how they respond to very simple questions like, how you refugees welcome, yeah? Yeah. Great. Can we sign you up for anybody to take into your home? No, I don't have the space. I don't have the money. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting, that one. Always seems to be the same sort of excuses that you get. We've got a great excuse here tonight from Philly to Shilly. There's another video coming on that one. I have to say, content for days and there's these things. And I'm telling you, tomorrow's thing is going to be content for days as well. What I'm going to show you as well is some of the organizations and political parties that are also linked to tomorrow. And these are going all out. This is like The Lord of the Rings. I keep bringing it back to it because The Lord of the Rings is just such a great trilogy and great, 3 books that are there, along with The Hobbit, obviously, that really detail kind of what we're seeing. You're seeing the banners be flown by these people. They're going all out together, and they are making one last ditch attempt at trying to win people over. They're not winning anyone over. Everyone has stepped firmly across the other side of the street. And as I've said before, and I predicted they're going to bring people out that people know. For example, the likes of your Christy Moores and your Maverick Sabres. Now, I didn't know who that guy was until I had a bit of a look into it. My generation, by and large, probably don't even know who Christy Moore is. It's going to go beyond those guys, though. Make no bones about it. They'll get people who are bigger than that, because what they've shown with the NGOs now, that is that they have plenty of funding, they've money behind them to bring in whoever they want. And you will see more actors, you will see more musicians, and they will roll them out. And this is exactly what to be expected, because you have obviously known by now, after unplugging from the Matrix over the last couple of years, that these people are in entertainment, are all told what to say and do. Kanye West only recently showed everybody what it's all about and told everybody what it's all about. And since then, they've tried to say, oh, don't mind him at all. Well, guess what's happening? The likes of Adidas are set to lose, I think it's $500 million, because they have his shoes in their warehouse and they can't sell them now because they're at the cutting ties with them, so they look stupid. And meanwhile, he's off there still earning money doing his thing, so he's looking good. But the bottom line is this: right, nobody talking about what he said at the time, and I think it is important to keep reiterating what Kanye was saying. So jump into the chat now in a few moments and we'll have a chat with people. Obviously, what I'm going to say to you at the beginning of this is the peaceful protests have completely worked, and it is important to keep them peaceful. It is also very important, given the fact that there are men, women, and children attending these protests, and the left do what they do without any sort of repercussions. It is important to stay vigilant at these things. I've said that to you before. I've said it to you before about people that are wearing masks at these things. Stay away from them, because those people are not one of us. Those individuals are generally agent provocateurs. They're there to cause a headline, and they're there to then, I would say, strike up a talking point for the media, where the media have had none for the last couple of weeks. And that's been very difficult for the media because they've had nothing to say. They won't report on the thousands of people going through the country. And then when people like Philip Dwyer, the Turkish Soldier, the Irish Gettr, Dave Cullen, Irish Inquiry, these guys, and Dan's Mixtape, when these guys are reporting on these things and the other side aren't doing it, you're like, well, that's weird. But what they will report on is something that goes in their favour. They ain't reporting very accurately, in my opinion, about the guy who drove through the crowd in East Wall. They want to just sweep that under the carpet. We ain't going to be sweeping nothing under the carpet. Let's make no bones about that. So let's have a jump into the chat and say hello. You know the story at this stage, guys. I really appreciate everybody that jumps into the chat. If you're at Ninja Knight in the chat, that makes it a lot easier and quicker for me later on to get through the chat and say hello to people as well. So what I saw, actually, you can see here at the top, I put in a comment that says testing, and I turned on the stream. It was just like, the live chat is not working. And I was like, why wouldn't that be working? So then I put in the testing comment. So people are probably looking at that going, why is he writing testing in there? Anyway, that's the reason for that. You know me. Richard McCavitt says, Evening Ninja and the greatest chat on YouTube. Thank you very much. Much appreciated on that one. Derek Mann says, greetings all. Hope everyone is well tonight. Jimmy Ainscoff is in here. Says, good evening, folks. Great to see you here, Jimmy. Derek McManus says, remember, folks, you have a question or comments for our host, use Ninja Knight in the chat that attracts attention. Derek, as always, fantastic individual to have in the chat and a fantastic mod, I have to be honest with you. Richard McCavitt says, 2 attempted deletions of peaceful protesters in Dublin 1 week by deranged people on the left and crickets from the media and politicians. Yeah, we'll be talking about that. That's 3 incidents as far as I'm concerned. There was one out in Ballyfermot. There was one outside the RTE studios. And that's also another one now outside East Wall. Well, I should say inside East Wall, I suppose, whatever way you want to put it from there. That's 3 incidents that involve cars. Now, in my video, I talk about it, and the men that are there, I have to be honest with you, show fantastic restraint, because the people in uniform, it is actually their job for them to sort things like that out insofar as to the direct traffic. And if the traffic is driving down the wrong side of the road and driving through protesters, they have to respond to that. Now, what has happened since then, and it's something I'm going to have to add on to the video because I did the video before this all occurred as such, the guy is back out on the streets. So just think about that for a moment. The guy who drove a car through a crowd of people and through people went to court and they let him out on bail. So this guy that's out there, there's a video out there of him on the Lewis just spouting nonsense, like something out of Arkham Asylum. And this guy is back out on the streets. Now, just to put that into context, Enoch Burke was behind bars for 3 months based on the fact he wouldn't call someone a they, them. And if someone wants to go around and say, oh, it was because he was in contempt of court, okay, I'll take that point. Even though you're the same people that weren't worried about the likes of the Nuremberg Code or the Geneva Convention, I'll take your point there. So ultimately, a guy is behind bars because he had contempt for court. Again, words. So he's sitting in jail for 3 months. Yeah, a guy that's using a car as essentially a weapon, in my opinion, terror, is back out on the streets, not 24 hours later. The place is inverse, and the justice system in this country is inverse. Look at the guy who's Justice Minister, Simon Harris. You wouldn't pick him in a five-a-side. Then you've got the previous Justice Minister, Helen McEntee. So many questions surrounding her, it's absolutely unbelievable. So you've got two successful Justice Ministers that are absolutely woeful at their jobs, and they're out there now talking about people saying hurty words online. This is what they're full in on. You've got Nigerians and other people from Africa that have assumed positions in councils in the likes of Mead. By the way, Mead, you need to start stepping up. Seriously. Because you've got Nigerians and other people from Africa that are stepping into these positions and are calling for all this hate speech nonsense. It only works one way. It doesn't work their way. Look at the nonsense that's been going on in the media in the last week or so. They're talking about St. George and Machete and the investigation there. Oh no, hang on here for a second. The side of the swing the Machete was clipped. That's it. Case over. Done. This thing has been sent to the DPP. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's cut and dry, in my opinion. And I think in the opinion of most people. Meanwhile, criminal investigation into Leo Varadkar, DPP decided to go, we're not going to prosecute that there. Great. And what else happened last week? Oh yeah, Bertie Ahern came back into the fold, and now they're talking about him potentially running for president, which everybody knows what that means. I think it's come to the point in time now that I hope if there's someone out here that's known them and that listens to this, I'm probably going to do a video anyway, very seriously need a money man to take on the presidential campaign. Someone that's a patriot and a nationalist, and I know an awful lot of people don't love him and they're not interested in it. But I think from what he's been saying, particularly online over the last couple of years, is you need someone out there that has money, that's going to challenge the system and is going to hold them accountable. They don't like Conor McGregor. I know an awful lot of people here in the chat don't like him either. But the bottom line is this, is he's been saying an awful lot of the right things over the last couple of years. Meanwhile, Bertie Ahern, who's a fella who was a finance minister that didn't have a bank account, that got up to all sorts of shenanigans, they're talking about putting him in there. They're also talking about Luke O'Neill potentially going in there. So what do you think? Do you think about the man that has won 2 world titles? Do you think he's a worse choice than Bertie Ahern and Luke O'Neill? I disagree. I think he's a better choice, hands over fist. So anyway, going back on what Richard McKevitt's saying there are multiple incidents that have happened that don't seem to have garnered any sort of response from the media at all. The court system has just put these people back out into the street. It's absolute lunacy. And in the meantime, you're seeing people then, like they've been talking about on the likes of media channels as well too, we're keeping an eye on 20 social media accounts. Why? Because what they're doing is they're telling the truth and they're taking your narrative and turning it around and saying, hang on here for a second. Or you're keeping an eye on them. That's very sinister, I think. Not only that then, we have Enoch Burke behind bars for 3 months, but the fella who was driving the car through a crowd of people actually struck one person, is walking around the place. Nutcases of a country. Absolute nutcases, lads. And when I say that, I'm talking about the judicial system. It's completely inverse. You know that, I know that, everybody knows that. But you have to keep pointing these things out and keep saying to people. I know some people say, well, that's apples and oranges, that case. The bottom line is this. One fella said something that people didn't agree with and ended up in jail. Another fella then used the car and is not in jail. Crazy stuff. Grim Reaper's in here. Good to see you. That's that Maximus Decimus Meridius. What do we do with that? We just smile back. That smile, Seppi. What do? We just smile back. That's all you can do, you know. Killian Donovan says, hey, Ninja, Christian Morrison, you're Seppi, a good laugh. What has made NPC, leftists, etc. so ignorant to the government's blatant destructive policy, speculatively, allegedly. That's a good point there, Killian. And what I'm thinking is these people have been bought into their way of life through emotion. A lot of these people are broken people. A lot of them have no solid family structure or family life. A lot of them very angry at the world. Look at Paul Murphy, for example. Paul Murphy has been regularly in the media talking about how he can't, how do we put this? Because you have to, dance around these things. His wife basically can't conceive. Now, that falls in line with an awful lot of what we think anyway. But the point is this: this is a guy that currently at this moment in time has no progeny, which means future of Ireland means nothing. It means nothing. So a lot of these people are the same. Roderick O'Gorman, Leo Varadkar. Look at those guys there. There's others that are out there that do have progeny. And to me, I don't think there's any amount of money that can make you do what these people are doing. I think it's something else. It has to be something else. And when you see them, look at Simon Harris speak. And all I'm just going to ask you to do is just look at him speak. And you'll make a lot of assumptions and you'll have a lot of thoughts and you'll make up your mind very quickly when it comes to that fella. These are people that are walking around that do not act nor behave like normal people in the slightest. And this is why these people have utter contempt for normal people, because normal people call it as it is. They're not buying into the lies. They will also then tell you that they find family and tradition to be extremely important, which these people do not find to be extremely important. It's kind of linking into the entertainment industry, like I did talk about as well. That's why I do the odd video there, to just show you how they're doing this in entertainment as well too, trying to condition people. I mean, looking at some of the TV series that I've seen recently, that they're trying to just drive people into one way of thinking, it's absolute garbage. It's unbelievable what they're getting away with. And then you have a couple of good gems that come out there, like the likes of what Taylor Sheridan is doing. Excellent work. So what I think is going on is a lot of people have been conditioned not to ask questions, have been conditioned to just accept what they are told, and particularly by people in authority, to just go on your point there, Killian. They've been told to just accept these things because someone holds a position. This is finished in the last couple of years. I don't care if you're your honour this, your senator this, your TD this, nothing. Your PhD, no, nothing. I don't care what you are. If you're out there and you're telling lies and you're doing something to the detriment of this country, I don't care who you are, what title you have, that's not going to gel with me, and I'm not buying into that. I'm taking people now as they are. And that's how an awful lot of other people are starting to see these things also. And I think it's great to see. You know, we're living in a society now that you look at, for example, and again to weave it in, the Christopher Nolan trilogy of Batman movies. When you just reflect on those again, you look at each of those movies and particularly the antagonists. Have a look at Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul in the first movie, that's played by Liam Neeson, talks about society and how criminals thrive in the indulgence by society. So that's exactly what we're seeing now. You're seeing these people now that are actively coming out every June, causing uproar around the place. You're seeing people now that are being wheeled into the country. And it's because people have put up with it. They've indulged it, that this behaviour is allowed and tolerated. Why do you think that these people that live in the likes of Dalkey, Howth, and all these other highfalutin places are really up in arms about what's going on? Because they understand that if the working class areas start to reject these people, where are they going to go next? And that's where they're going to go. Again, linking into that Batman trilogy. You've got the Joker in the second movie, just to talk about it entertainment-wise. That's a guy that looks at the corruption in the place. And again, ties back to what Ra's al Ghul was talking about. It ends up then with Bane. And Bane is way more out there when it comes to doing things, but ultimately shows people, again, look at what these people have been up to. Look at the people who are leading the place. Look at the lies that are being told to you. So you look at those antagonists through a different lens, and I think that was the brilliance of Christopher Nolan, that you look back at it at this moment in time and you say to yourself, like, there's characters there. Listen, the actions that these characters take are obviously as well quite negative, and that's the important part of them being a villain. But looking back on the movies, there's so much depth to them, and that's why those movies, I think, were honoured the way they have been, and also made an awful lot of people think. The Dark Knight makes me think a lot, because I see what the Heath Ledger Joker character does in that movie, and you look at what he does and how he does it, and also then the end result when he has the two boats and he gives them both the triggers. I was looking at that being like, there's one thing that Nolan failed on here. And I was talking to someone recently and they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, one side definitely would have pushed the trigger. And they were like, what? And I said, sure, look at what people did over the sniffles. Look at what they did then. 100% they'd push the trigger. That's the one thing. The Joker was ultimately right in that movie because he knew. But what is being shown to people now is these people in these organizations are coming out now and they're rearing their heads. And I think it's great to see. It's panic moves that are being shown here. It's great. Rich McCout says, just to let you know, if any of you are Gemma fans, in her second to last live stream, she called the Dublin protesters to racist society. She's not winning any fans or anyone over here, you know. And this is the thing. This, as you said there, she's a snobby. She has a snobby accent. But I think when you're looking at some of the things that and some of the work that she's done over the years, obviously, you know, it's been some good stuff. But ultimately, as well, if you're taking that sort of route, look at the panic that's amongst people in the media as well, with the people that are turning up to protest and everything like that, and they're continually trying to sow division. Like you have the left out there that have spent the last day and a half been like, Tommy Robinson's coming to Dublin. Yeah, hang on, who's that there that you have in your poster? Steve Wall. You had him on RTE, was it last week or the week before? Have a look into what that guy did. Have a look into what he's been up to. And these are the people that the left are siding with. It's no mistake that they're siding with all of the rainbow stuff either. So it's very clear and obvious to me. And a lot of these people want you not to be siding with people and certainly don't want you to be siding with heads, because they understand then if things get going the way they're looking to get them going, because as I said before, I think peaceful and respectful is the way forward. But these people have regularly shown you in the likes of America, in the UK, in France, that they have no qualms with turning to extreme measures at all. None. So anyway, let's keep going. Donald Dunn says hello, Ninja, and chat hope all as well. Good to see you here. Point Man's in here. Hope you're all doing well, folks. Good to see you here, Point Man. Very good to see you here. He sends an awful lot of memes to me. Just keeps me in the loop with a lot of stuff. So very much so appreciate it. He does so much work, you know. Does an awful lot of help. Tangent says, good evening, Ninja Night, and on the chat. Good to see you here. Good to see you here indeed. William Dunner says, sup noodle arms. Don't be talking about Micheál Martin like that. That's absolutely shocking. Colette Boland says, good evening, Night Ninja. Ninja Night, everyone in the chat. Robbie K says, once you're finished before Friday night tights, all is good, Ninja. Appreciate that. I'd jump across the Friday night tights, no problem if they invited me over there. I'd have a good laugh over there, you know. I was saying it to Gary actually at Nerdrotic. He was posting a picture there from the Ant-Man movie, and I was like, please stop giving them your money. Stop. You know. So Eagle Day says, never underestimate the predictability of a woke person to have a tantrum when they get asked a question in relation to their views. Perhaps we could all do our bit to raise the pressures. A lot of these people, by the way, have bought into the jabronis, you know what I mean? So it's quite interesting. A lot of them have gone very quiet lately, which is nice to see. But it's very clear as well, too. Some big pages that they have had previously, they don't get an awful lot of likes on them anymore. But big pages now that calling for what happened in East Wales, they said that they would do it themselves and they think that they would endorse it. I mean, is that not a call to action? Is that not what that is? Is it not? You know? Are they being investigated? What about the scammer groups that are on the likes of Facebook? They're Ukrainians in Ireland. How about that one? Is that being investigated at all? Nearly 10,000 members in that there. No? These people that are coming over to this country and then going back on holiday to their own country. Weird that, isn't it? Anyway, Blue Grime 1 says, even I'll have 2 tickets for Christy Morgan if anyone wants them. Ha ha ha. Satirical Sergeant here says, all right, guys, happy Friday. Delighted to be here with Ninja and yourselves. Good to see you here, Satirical. Satirical's doing great stuff. If you haven't followed him already, make sure you subscribe to his channel and his Telegram. Absolutely hilarious stuff. You know, he's just so frank. Absolutely love it. I love how frank he is. Fergus Power says, Ninja Night, good evening, brother, and hello to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all keeping well. Never mind all these distractions, Tommy Robinson, etc. Keep focused on the task. Couldn't have said it better there, Fergus. You're absolutely bang on there, man. Absolutely bang on. Ninja Night, that lad driving the car with the loudspeaker, apparently he's 36 years of age. Whoa, look old. Yeah, there's no way he's 36, and it's like the Demi Lovato effect as well, too. Very good looking lady she was, and then got woke, and then, oh, yikes. Look at Sam Smith, even, for example, right? I remember when he did the theme song for the James Bond movie. I think it was just The Writings on the Wall, I think it was called. And you looked at him then, and he was in good shape, and he was dressed well and everything. You're like, you know, things went well. And now look at him. It's like a SpongeBob SquarePants character, you know what I mean? You're looking going like, what is happening? And it's with all these people. All these people go the same. They all go weird looking. Aaron the second says, Ninja Night, good evening. Good to see you here. Colette Boland says, Ninja, I heard the same. He looks about 60. People are saying in the chat. Barova 1014 sends a 5 said, God bless all Patriots. Our own Sula August Clusha, don't lie to us about this attempted replacement, and it won't be tolerated any longer. Absolutely, 100%. Fully agree with you there, and thanks again. Tangent is Philip in jail? I wonder, yeah, he's off the platform for a week, which is complete and utter nonsense, you know. Lighthouse says the socials love to give you the short off someone else's back, for sure. Lord Thoughts in here says, hi everyone. Going back on Philip though, yeah, Philip has not on the platform now for a week. He isn't for bizarre reasons. Obviously, when you're reporting the truth, that's not quite liked, and that's why. And I think Derek actually the week before last was in the same boat, insofar as he was live streaming, had planned a live stream, I think it was, and then ended up not going to be on it. So that's why, sometimes you kind of have to, as I said before, you got to box smart to do. And when it comes to things, make sure you keep an eye on different material, is what I'd say, and also on different platforms. Very important there. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with promoting a video on a different platform, by the way, and giving people the links and stuff like that too. Obviously, another interesting thing that's happened this week before we jump into the other stuff in terms of YouTube, Susan, who runs this company, is going to be stepping down. So that's quite interesting to see. And it seems like there's a lot of resignations over the last week or so. There was someone that predicted it recently. They said they're after, who was it that resigned recently? They said, someone that was before Sturgeon. Sturgeon's the most recent one, but there was someone before that. I can't remember who it was. But they caught, no, it was Ardarn. That's who it was. They said Ardarn was to go, Sturgeon was to go, and Trudeau was next. So all set to resign, because there's mounting pressure on those people. And obviously the group there, like I like to call them Spectre, they're keeping an eye on it, and they're like, oh, like, it wouldn't shock me now if Leo Varadkar was to resign. It wouldn't shock me at all. Now, I do think that he's too arrogant and too narcissistic to do that, and I think that he thinks that this stuff is all just going to go away. The government and the media, by the way, fully believe, and this is the way that they're putting this stuff out, they fully believe that a couple of sound bites and a couple of articles are going to quell what's going on. That's not going to happen. The bits between the teeth of the Irish people now, and they're not going away, especially when you're out there in the media that's known now for telling lies, that they're going, oh, we're totally not going to bring any more people in. And then busloads of people are still being wheeled in. They're like, well, it's obvious here. There wouldn't be any need. Listen, tomorrow's protest from these people on the left, there wouldn't be any need for that if you weren't going to continue doing what you're already doing. It'd be cut and dried and it'd been over. But to me, they're starting to see it, and people are starting to wake up en masse, and they're like, no, the soundbite's not doing it for me anymore. 100%. Philly McMahon, Philly No Mates decided to throw out now a retweet of the poster out there and all the NGOs that are going to be at it. Of course, Philly then saying, in a roundabout way, I think he was trying to say in the tweet that he wasn't being paid. He's not a local champion, but didn't really confirm whether he is or not. So for anyone with a basic reading comprehension, was just looking at it going, he's talked in circles there, and then he's like, I hope I confirmed that for you. No, he didn't confirm anything. Nothing. So anyway, this person, PJ, decided to write underneath it and said, take them into your gym. Philly responds. Now, I mean, what an own goal. This guy is the king of own goals at this stage of the game. I actually feel bad. I did a video before that was actually defending Philly McMahon when he was taken out from behind. I know he was looking at this going like, this guy has totally flown the nest here at this one. How can it be that you have two kids that have gone so far left field, from the McMahons? Shocking stuff. Anyway, he then responds to PJ and says, would you live in a gym? Are these people not fleeing all sorts of circumstances, allegedly, speculatively, from the countries that they're coming from? Absolutely. Listen, if I was having turbulence in this country, or there was turbulence in this country, and I was brought into another country, and someone said, yeah, do you want to go into the gym there? I would be over the moon. Why? Because gyms feature, by and large, showers. So obviously that's really good that you're going to be able to wash up. They feature an awful lot of space, which is also good as well too. And then you can do a bit of exercise whilst you're there. So that's great. That's great, is it not? But see, this is the thing, and this is what comments like these do. It exposes these people for who they really are. It's like, no, I don't want them in my gym. Why would I have them there? Oh, well, then you're full of it then. That's what you are. So you're full of it because you're happy enough to go around and tell people what they should and shouldn't do. By the way, another thing that these people are trying to do is they're trying to psyop people into protesting outside government buildings. That doesn't work. Hasn't worked for a very long time. Not going to work. And the reason is, when all of these people say just go there, because who's complaining to politicians? Who do you think is complaining to politicians about protests happening all over the place and resources being stretched thin? The uniforms. The uniforms are upset about them being stretched so thin, and now the possibility of people holding protests on the same day in different places means they're really overstretched, and that's not good news for them. Who do you think that benefits? It benefits them, and it also benefits politicians when people are hanging around outside government buildings because they can cordon people off. It's in an area that doesn't have much of an effect, and that's it. Then it's forgotten about. Meanwhile, people going through certain areas is having an effect, and the fact that it's not being reported elsewhere is having a huge and is making a huge difference to people. But look at this nonsense here. This person here, PJ, outliked Philly. So it's great to see, 8 likes here at the time of screenshot. But also, as you can see, full of it. Completely full of it. Now, you'll see another person that's absolutely full of it now in a moment. I'll show you here. And there you go. I'm going to get into the post now in a moment, but there's Jerry Adams. Now, I don't know about you, but certainly when you have a look into his brother, have a look into Jerry's brother, Liam, and see what you think. That's all I'm saying for you to do. Have a look into that and just have a think about that. And then, isn't it weird then you've got Jerry's brother and you've got Mary Lou's brother? That's really weird, isn't it? That those set of circumstances seem to happen to the two people that are leading Sinn Féin. So one predecessor and one current leader of Sinn Féin. That's mad, isn't it? Really strange. I've actually said that recently to a couple of people that I know that are Sinn Féin supporters. People that not probably, they assume that Sinn Féin is a football team that they've been assigned at birth and that they have to just support them no matter what. And I was just like, listen, you need to change your leader pronto. And they're looking at you going, what? And I said, do you agree with all this nonsense? And they're like, and I'm like, but there's nobody in the party challenging them. You don't think there are 4 or 5 people that could go, whoa, this looks really bad, and hasn't done such in the last couple of years? They're looking at you going, yeah, and I don't know about you, but this says it all. Sean Man Philly. Sean Connery, is it? That's the Well, look at this here. 18,000 views, 59 likes. That's Jerry Adams, lads. That's Jerry Adams, and that's someone that's supposed to be popular. This is how unpopular this movement is, and what is going on as well too, big time, is people are starting to disassociate from people in this sphere. They're realizing that the blue check mark, the entertainer, the jester, as I like to call them, the jester that's out there that's pushed forward for you to be entertained with, they ain't possessing any sort of IQ, and they're happy to sell out the place, no problem. So Philly isn't housing these people in the gym. He's not going to house them in his own gaff. So they're all full of it. Quick swig there. I just wanted to show you this as well also. This came from underneath the post from a fella called Maverick Sarah. I don't really know who he is. It was sent on to me by a follower of the channel, and I had a look at it, and I seen a couple of negative comments and then some positive ones, of course. So I decided to write this underneath it. I haven't got a response as of yet. I was happy to respond, though, to someone else that was saying what he was doing was disgusting, but a well thought out question like this one, not to give myself too much props here or anything like that, it's just a very simple question. No response. Response from a couple of weirdos, though, and one individual then that got really upset real quick. So it's always easy to do it. But anyway, I said, how much did they pay you, or what did they promise you to be a part of this, which sells out the Irish people? So that currently is sitting at 10 likes, I think it is, on Instagram, which isn't bad. This is Molly McCann, who is a UFC fighter who possesses tens of thousands at the very least of followers, has 3 likes, and then underneath it was saying, if I wasn't somewhere else, I'd be totally at this. Okay, I'm just going to take a time out there. So goofballs like this individual are going to go to this type of thing that they're going to host tomorrow, just so you know. So it's goofballs or Russ that are going to be at it tomorrow, just so we're all clear. I hope that the people go down there, average heads, and they start taking videos and pictures, because you are bound to have a number of weirdos that Satirical Soldier is going to be able to draw. No problem. There'll be content for days at this thing tomorrow. I'm guaranteeing you that. But what I noticed at this time of recording was that I had treble the amount of likes as a person who was in the UFC, who was on the roster, and who should be out liking this little Gonzo production that has something like 200 followers on Instagram. That's very strange, isn't it? So again, numbers like that, I'm obsessed with numbers when it comes to these things, and specifically when they're on their turf, they seem to not be able to get the likes that they think they're going to. It's mad, isn't it? Very interesting, that one. Did this here the other day, and it was 104 votes, which is the final result, which was nice to see. Obviously, I want to get as many people involved as possible. because it's interesting to see what way people are thinking. And it says, following up on yesterday's poll, which was a resounding yes to legalise pepper spray. So that was nearly at 1,000 votes, that one. So I think I said it last week, I think it was at 94%, that one. Maybe was it a bit lower than that? I'd say 90. We'll just say 90%, all right? I think I'm actually underestimating that one there. Do you believe that taser should be legal in Ireland? So 74% said yes. So nearly 30% said no. So a quarter said no. But a lot of people said yes to that. Now, the interesting thing was after that, then obviously I did another poll that talked about, say, for example, what America has. They have a right to walk around with, you know what, and people agreed with that also. Now, I think that one's interesting because I think a lot of people are starting to realize now that if you make a phone call and there's a baddie running around that night, that like the phone call is not going to stop the baddie from doing bad things, you know. And I seen someone that did a brilliant statement online, which was, you know, if, for example, in the Harry Potter movies, they said if a student just ran around going Avada Kedavra to people, like how far would they get? And someone wrote underneath it, not far. And the guy was like, because who possesses what? They were like, everyone has a wand. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, moving on past that, a lot of people are in and saying, yeah, no problem at all in terms of that. Now, my opinion is this: like, why wouldn't you have these things be legal? You know, the counterpoint to these things is, oh, well, bad guys could have them. Listen, the bad guys have way worse than these things. You know, you're at a severe disadvantage here, and people that aren't waking up to these things quick enough. But you're at a severe disadvantage, and you're also sort of still buying into what the media are saying to you by saying, oh, no, these things are bad and all that. If they're telling you that it's bad news, these are the same people that go around to these people that are going to protect them with these said things. So you got to look at it like that. Here is what we were talking about earlier on, and this fella was live. He actually posted this live, so he was running around the place antagonising people that were protesting pro-Irish demonstrations, as we like to call them, that are speaking up for the Irish people that are patriots and nationalists that are awake to what's going on. This fella decided to drive down the wrong side of the road and then into people, live streamed it, and is now back out on the street. What a world we live in, and what a country we live in, that this sort of stuff is happening. And he's back out on the street already. I mean, these are the type of things that are pushing things to the way they're going, which is people have looked at, say, for example, Leo Varadkar. That was a big one, I think, for a lot of people at the time, where they looked at that and said, okay, like, he's caught. He's 100% caught here. He's admitting to it left, right, and centre. He's done. And then the DPP just went, nah. So hang on here for a second. The fellow was under criminal investigation. There's more evidence, and I mean more clear evidence than anyone could ever probably compile ever. And the DPP just went, no. That's it. You've finished. So any of the times that I see the media, and I'm seeing it more increasing again, they're starting to talk about a specific family beginning with K and certain operations that these guys are up to, allegedly, speculatively. Again, I keep saying to people, they didn't take my civil liberties and my rights and my freedoms away from me. I don't care what they do. I really don't. And it's not only that then, the more that the media go in on that sort of stuff, I'm saying to myself, hang on here, those guys clearly possess something that the media don't like. And not only did the media not like it, but the government don't like it, so much so that the American one got involved. And I was like, right, these guys definitely have something. And it's informational. That's the only reason why they go after these guys, is because they have information. It's not because of anything else that they're doing, because if you were telling me that some politicians allegedly, respectively, haven't gotten up to certain stuff before, you know, I think you need to have a hard think about that one. Look, for example, as well, too, certain testing isn't been allowed in the Gardaí. That's another strange one, isn't it? Because if you're 100% certain that this stuff wasn't going to be happening in the Gardaí, you'd have no problem at all with that. And I'm just saying that because, just to push it back, these people that were in uniform were happy to run around after people over the sniffles and other sorts of nonsense. Now, in fairness to the guard that was in court there yesterday, he was asking, like, oh, hang on here, what's the story here? This guy is probably a danger to society here. Like, what's the story? I wouldn't be granting him bail. And the judge is like, nah, sorry. What? You for real? So you've had the Leo Varadkar situation. You've had the likes of people on the left and the likes of Paul Morphy calling people all sorts of things, along with Simon Harris now recently joining in, saying all sorts of things. None of them mentioning this at all. So again, it just brings back to the point then that these people are all hypocrites on the other side, and they do not want people getting united on this side, and that's why they start to get panicky when they see more, shall we say, tougher characters starting to appear at these things. They start to get a bit antsy because they're like, oh no. Now, what they're trying to do is, by the way, they're trying to create disassociation and divide people and all that, because this is what they've been masters of for the last couple of years, which is, oh, you don't want to go with them. Look at that person there. You're associated with them. Well, here's the thing, guys. Tomorrow's thing has been linked in with this guy here. Okay? It's also been linked in with Steel Wall. That's not good, is it? And then some of the other organizations that are at as well also. Not great, is it? It's not a great look. So that's what needs to be done all the time. And it is being done. It's great to see it being done online. I think it's fantastic that people are starting to say, okay, look what you're thinking in yourself. Make no mistake, same people who are demanding you accept and tolerate their way of life passionately hate you for yours and are relentlessly seeking to destroy it. And that, I think, sums up the other side completely. You have to bake the cake. You have to celebrate nonsense for an entire month. You have to let in a religion that doesn't seem to act very peaceful everywhere it goes. You have to accept that you're going to become a minority in your own country. We are going to gleefully report on that. By the time 2050 rolls around, there won't be anybody like you around the place. We are going to take cash off you. We are going to do nonsense things like talk about possibly putting people into your home without your consent, first and foremost, and a breach of privacy. That's even just the lower end of it. And these are the people that you're dealing with. They absolutely cannot stand you. The fact of the matter is that these political parties and these NGOs that are out there have created an event tomorrow in response to so many people rejecting them is beautiful. I absolutely love it. I love that they've gone to these lengths, and I love that they've linked themselves in with each other again, so everybody can view who they are. It's awesome. I love it. I can't say any more than that. I think it's great. So let's have a look here. This comes from the NHS because meanwhile, when all sorts of stuff is going on, there's people that should be still held accountable for what they're doing during the sniffles. And as you know, as I've said before, as long as I draw breath, I'll be talking about this because there's people that should be held accountable. And this just brings me back to the earlier point. So Ardern has resigned. Sturgeon has resigned out of nowhere. These two people have resigned out of nowhere. And Trudeau looks like he's going to be next. That's quite interesting in it, and that's all wheeling towards 2024. I wonder what could be happening in 2024. Well, it looks like there's going to be a very serious comeback from America, and if there isn't, I think that probably will be the incidents that would probably tip it over, because I think a lot of people have had enough with America, and America, funnily enough, has been going through what's been going through for over a decade now. And they're getting to tipping points in various different places. The difference with America and Ireland is that states have an awful lot of power, and that if you're in a specific state, like say, for example, Florida, it's been pretty much gravy for you for the last couple of years. Meanwhile, in the blue state, it's been very similar to here. And with Ireland has been comprised of just one group deciding what to do with everywhere. And I mean, like, for example, it'd be like, say, for example, Kerry doing their own thing for the last couple of years, basically being the Florida of Ireland. Most people probably would have moved to Kerry. They would have abandoned other places because they would have said, I'm not having this at all. Meanwhile, it was a one-size-fits-all here in Ireland. But I think what's going to happen from here on out is you're going to see people now starting to slink away from this, hoping that they're not going to be caught up. And this is what elections and how elections have consequences. Because I think when you see, for example, Simon Harris, and I'm going to reiterate it again, count 15, Justice Minister. Leo Varadkar, count 5. Micheál Martin, count 6. Not wanted. Easily beatable in each of their constituencies. And I think if you take those positions, this is what these people are afraid of. They're afraid of people getting into these positions and then turning it. Now, what's important to note is that an awful lot of them are playing on the same team, just with different names. I mean, does anybody think that Sinn Féin got into power and was the opposition party as such? Do you think that any of them are going to hold any of them accountable for the last couple of years? Absolutely not. And that's what I keep saying to my Sinn Féin friends. I keep saying to them, do you think they're going to hold people accountable for the sniffles? And they all look at you and go, well, no, hang on. The current thing, forget about that for the moment. Let's have a look at what these people did. People's civil rights, liberties, and freedoms were trod upon. The Constitution was trod upon for the last couple of years over the sniffles. That has now come out that the stuff that they've given out. Do you know what the stuff that they've given out over the last year does? Does it stop you from getting it? No. Does it stop you from giving it to other people? No. Does it stop you from being hospitalized? No. Does it stop you from going 6 feet under? No. So what does it do? I'll tell you what it does. Seems like it's causing an awful lot of heart issues. Seems like it's caused blood clots. Seems like it has caused people to no longer be on this plane of existence. And recently, Slovenia, now again, I don't know how true this one is, but certainly it got out during the week that says Slovenia, some high level professor or something like that there. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. This may or may not be true. I'm just saying. This individual came out and said that vials were labelled 1, 2, and 3. One was for basically the old salty water, and the other two then could have varying differences in what they would do. So you're starting to see that too as well. Also, where I know people, for example, in my own life, that seem to be okay. Doesn't seem to be any issues with them at all. I know other people that haven't been the same. So they're in the second sort of cohort, and I mean, again, you can look at it like that and say there has been 3. One cohort of people that are kind of fine, seem to be all right. Allegedly online, they're saying nicotine and whatever, I think is a taurine, I think, in the likes of energy drinks. They're trying, have you noticed, by the way, they're starting to talk about the smoking ban again now. That's a really weird timing, isn't it? That they keep talking about smoking and stuff like that. Apparently the nicotine stops what they've given you. That's just what I've heard online. The taurine also does the same. That's why they are looking, what was it they said? I think of an article here. It says something like, anybody born after 2008 is banned from smoking for life. Well, why would you do that? That's a very extreme thing to do, isn't it? But these things are being said online, and some of it I think is quite interesting to witness. Now, again, it may or may not be true, but the ultimate point is this. Slovenia seem to have an idea again, like I just said there, cohort 1 of nothing seems to be wrong with people at all. Cohort 2 haven't been right since, and cohort 3, serious issues that are now being either moved into certain places or are no longer in this plane of existence. And funnily enough, a fella there is a Canadian guy called Chris, very famous at the beginning of all this, at the outset, put up a video yesterday and was like, do you know what we know about what's happening now? And the video was something else. He was like, people that have been affected by these things have basically been given free houses in a community in Texas, I think he said it was. And he says they're all forced to sign NDAs. And I was looking at it being like, that's for sure probably what's happening. Buying people off NDAs and an awful lot of people then not knowing what's really going on. And in my own life, as I said to you before, I know people that are all messed up. Some people that are not feeling the same, that are sick all the time. Or people then that are okay. So NHS has this here. Find a walk-in site. Changes to the Voldemort booster dose. After the 12th of February 2023, you will not be able to get this here. Some people who are increased risk, for example, because of age or certain medical conditions, may be offered a seasonal boost later this year. If you're eligible for this, the NHS will contact you when it's your turn to get Voldemort. So again, stuff that hasn't worked the first time, the second time, the third time, they want you to take it 4, 5, and 6 times. And again, they called people like you and me tinfoil hat wearers when you were like, do you know how many spaces on that card? And they're like, yeah, there's 8. And they filled in one for you, did they? Yeah. Why would they need 8 spaces? Why would they need 8? And they're looking at you and they're like, what? Because they want you to take 8. No way. Same people are on 5 now at this stage. And I'm telling you, I'll go for 6. That's it. They're still with us. But the UK has decided, okay, right, we have problems here. Meanwhile, the HSE here is like, no, we're going to wheel them out. We're going to wheel them out to infants. Yikes. Absolute yikes there, guys. This is a fantastic image. I would implore you to download this one. And when anyone is spouting out them down there, like the likes of TDs or media and that, put that underneath it. And you'll get a couple of likes out of it. Anyway, a good bit of laugh there from that one. 2022, are you a Voldemort follower? Mind your own business. 2023, are you a Voldemort follower? In the arms of the angels, fly away from here. The thing is, I'm telling you now, and I mean this when I say this, the left has gone super quiet, and there's probably people that are out there that would have been ardent online warriors that are no longer there. And this is why I think you've seen a dramatic shift. And I also think as well, people have been fed up of being told lies for the last number of years, and they're just calling it out now, left, right, and center. Twitter is hilarious at the moment. Haven't been reinstated on Twitter. I'm looking at it going like, holy moly, the things that have been flying around here now between people wouldn't have happened before. I mean, you're seeing Paul Murphy, just taking him as an example, get regularly ratioed on his own posts. You're seeing Feeney McMahon getting ratioed on his own post. Christy Moore had to stop comments on his post before he posted what he did because he knew what was going to happen there. And yet still people quoted it and said what they thought of him. It's absolutely brilliant. And these people are all on the wrong side of history every single time. It's too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. This stuff is by design. Absolutely 100% by design. This is what you can also share around to people, and I would I'd wholeheartedly agree with you sharing this around. I don't know who put this up, but this is an absolute banger. And people are putting this up, and I'm just going to put you in mind here as well. I'm going to just show you this. So that's Oliver Cromwell, right? And I'm going to say something that I had said on a right? Here we go. We go on to this one here. Shall we here? This Fiddy McMahon fella would have tongue punched the fart box off of Oliver Cromwell. 100%. Would have been down on both knees and would have been saying, down Oliver, thanks very much there, lad. 100%. And the likes of Jerry Adams as well, doing another one. That'd been down on both knees for the likes of Oliver Cromwell. It's amazing, isn't it? How a party like Sinn Féin are Brits out, and now it's like everyone else in, guys. And it's not just them. Look at Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, look at where they started from. Same thing. Started from people being revolutionaries here in Ireland and then just turned around and said, look, I'm telling you now, I know people have said it before in the chat as well, that they weren't a fan of Michael Collins. I often think what this country would have been like had Michael Collins had lived. I think it'd be completely different. Because you look at how it has gone, it's not gone well. And it's gone badly since Eamon De Valera was running the show, in my humble opinion. And it has gotten worse from there. Look at the success of individuals that have gotten in and have upended the place and have caused nothing but nuisance here. So I often think of that. But this is essentially what this is. And the people that would be out there tomorrow would have been the same people that would have been like, oh my God, you're an anti-imperialist. You're an anti-British. You're an anti-Anglo. Oh, stop. Oh, man. Cromwell is dropping his plantation march, Ireland for all, stronger together, homes for all, healthcare for all, services for all. Again, these dipsticks that are calling for these things as well know that these places are seriously under threat in terms of there's no houses being built quick enough. The houses are grossly overpriced, which is another thing. And when you keep importing people into the place, especially, for example, people from Asia that can come in here with cash and place outrageous and obscene offers on houses that then ends up bringing the whole area up to that price, that's a problem. Then you've got other people that are coming in for sure and that they are still able to compete. Take, for example, like I think about friends of mine that are in jobs and, you know, for example, even their sisters that work in the likes of, say, Tesco or something as a checkout girl or whatever you might call her, checkout lady. Like, years ago, that girl, probably if she married someone or if she was with someone or whatever like that might be able to get a house, be able to afford a house. There's zero chance of that person affording a house. Zero. Next to zero. And you're seeing it regularly by the media that they're posting out things like, was it electrical engineer on 50k a year has saved for a house. Yeah, that's great, but they're probably combining the money with someone else, or either they have absolutely no life, which is no way to live in my view. But as I keep saying, I keep reiterating, my parents, my grandparents were able to afford homes and be at one wage coming into the place. And many people that they knew growing up, specifically my parents, that knew other families of 8, 9, 10, 12 people. You yourself in the chat, you know people. You're probably from a family of 8 and 9 and 12. And you've had parents there, one parent that was able to go out and go to work and come back home, was able to, you know, people would say it was a tough life, and I agree with you. A lot of people say we had nothing. I agree with you. I also agree with you on that one. That's the way that they want to bring things back towards, though. But ultimately, getting back to the point, one wage could suffice for a home. Do you think that can be done now? Absolutely not. And that's what people in high skill, and when I say high skill, people that are in very good trade jobs, for example, are looking at things, and if they're on 50k as well too, that's a struggle for them with the current thing that's going on. They're in excellent jobs. And then other people then that go out and do degrees and then they get into different positions and different jobs as well that would have had good money beforehand are also in the same boat where both have to work to keep a home going. And this is what these people have done. Healthcare for all. Healthcare is just another way of saying, hey guys, Irish futures, don't mind about them. That's all that is. Healthcare for all. Have they decided to extend any of the hospitals over the last couple of years during the sniffles? No. What did they do? They came to both winters going, we don't know if we have space. We're going to have to shut the place down. That's bad planning. That's fiscally irresponsible. Meanwhile, they're telling you that they're setting aside 600 million for foreigners. And at the same time telling you, yeah, see those energy credits that we're giving out to, we're not going to do that anymore. People's bills are starting to come in and people are wildly unhappy with them, and they're right to be. And I'm telling you now, next year is going to be interesting to see, because when people's bills at this moment in time for the last 2 months have been 800 and 900 euro just for a gas bill, you're pissing people off, and you're pissing people off that have money too. And I think it's going to have to be nailed home next time. And I think next year it's going to be super interesting to see, because if people start accepting this sort of stuff, and that's why it's important to tell people, hey, look at the government there. They're setting 3 billion aside there for bringing people into the country. Could that 3 billion not be used to offset any of the costs for Irish people here? No. Could you not try and buy, for example? I mean, look, a lot of people would say that the energy situation is for sure something that the government could step in and do something about, but won't. But they're happy to cart people into the place and give them freebies. That's why inflation exists, by the way, just as you know, and why your bills are the way they are. That's funding the nonsense that's going on, just to be clear. And if the nonsense isn't allowed to continue going on, they're going to have a lot of money, and they keep posting about it too. They say, oh, we had an 85 billion profit there. What? That's obscene. No, but tell you what, listen, guys, you know, you've had a great year. Fair play to you. Thanks for what you did there. But you know, all those taxes and all those things you paid for, yeah, we're going to give the Kalechi and the family there, because they've arrived from Somalia and they've had an awful tough time there. You know, I don't give a rat's about Kalechi. I don't give a rat's about anyone there. I don't give a rat's about anybody that's coming from any other country that they've allegedly had problems. Put them into neighbouring countries. They're not coming here. No one. And that's where people should be at now. I've seen a lot of videos of people out there being like, oh, well, you know, if they're genuine cases. No. They shouldn't be coming here at all. So this is what you got. Services for all. So this is just, again, something that you're not going to get. Paddy ain't going to be welcomed when it comes to this here. Parnell Square to the Custom House, Saturday, 18th of February, 1:30 p.m. So that's going to be interesting. But here we go. Gary Cannon. This is another fella. As I keep saying to people, someone might be in the chat now and they'll be like, I'm leaving this chat now. Don't trust anybody with a lisp. Especially, listen, I'm casting a wide now here. If you're a politician and you have a lisp, I'm definitely not going to trust you, because every time people have had lisps that are politicians, they've done really out there things. 29th of November 2022, East Mall protest, now a far-right rally. Gary Cannon TD says. The protests in East Mall are now a far-right rally. Absolutely out there stuff. And I have to be honest with you, this has just served to wake more people up to be like, what's he saying? What's that? The reason, and I said something very interesting, in my opinion, on Twitter during the week, and I said, the reason why words like these have been made up is simply because of this. It's the age-old battle of good versus evil. Now, evil is very aware of what it is, and that's why they put labels upon good like far right. That's why they do that, because they're super aware about what they're doing, and they know what they're doing. So that's why they stick these labels over there. Are you concerned with bad people calling you any sorts of names? No, nor should you be. Don't be worrying about that at all. Here we go. This is how the media parrot things as well too. Irish Daily Mirror. Appointments may be booked from today as the scam Voldemort's open to babies from 6 months old up to 4 years. This is outrageous. But this goes to show you, again, the concerted effort to push this upon people. And I'm telling you, there is a serious problem coming down the line. And this is why these people are going all out on it. This is the media pushing this out now for babies. These people know. They know that these things don't stop you from getting it, don't stop you from passing it on, don't stop you from going to the hospital, don't stop you from anything worse happening. These people are keenly aware, and if they're not, it's ignorant at best and evil at worst. Because if they're not aware of what these things have been doing and the potential risks with these things, this is seriously out there. And to me, when you're talking about listening to articles and I'm going to listen to articles, listening to media, or it's talking about 20 accounts causing a problem for the government's narrative, this would be better time and money well spent with the likes of police investigating this here. Because if I can get the likes of figures from the likes of the company beginning with P, that 1,200 people were taken out in the first couple of months, that should have been it. Should have been over. This stuff has been suspended as well too in different countries. Yeah, here's the Irish media starting to pump this out. This is unbelievable. So again, like I said, hearty words merit investigations and people to be questioned about things. But these sorts of things here don't. It's scandalous. It's absolutely scandalous. And this is why media is running scared. That's why they don't like you asking questions. That's why they keep saying, oh, it's attacking democracy when you're asking us questions or you're putting our feet to the fire with things. 100%, because the fact that you haven't been pushed back upon with these things nor have given two sides of the argument shows everything that you need to know about you. And what it does also show to me is that when actual real people get into positions and hold you accountable, it's going to be serious. Breaking news. Scam Voldemort program for children aged between 6 months and 4 years old will begin next week. Do us a favor, talk to people that are interested in this and tell them what you think and how you feel. Help the child is what I'll say, please. That's all I'll just say to you. You know, you might not get through to the parent or anything like that, but please talk to the child. I'm regularly talking to people all of the time that are adults themselves that are having problems. Talk to them and tell them this is not the way to go forward. Send them the video, send them the images. So what if you lose them as a friend at the end of the day, they might reconsider and maybe they won't talk to you again, but it could be a kid saved is what I'm saying, Again, I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not giving out medical advice here or anything like that, but certainly send them on what you have is what I'm saying. That is totally at odds with what these individuals are going for. Irish Times, scam Voldemort program for children aged between 6 months and 4 to begin. Irish Examiner, the HSE, has announced a scam program for all children aged between 6 months and 4 years. Jack White reports. Renews their scam Voldemorts will be made available for children as young as 6 months from next Monday. The Urinal, all children aged 6 months to 4 years old will be eligible to receive a scam Voldemort from next week, the HSE has said. And at what risk are they at? What? What's that? 99.99999% that they'd be all right. That doesn't seem like that's worth looking at all. So you think that you can get, is it the common cold? Do you think that the common cold can be got rid of with these things? That's weird, isn't it? It seems to be never have been eradicated then. But all of a sudden this thing can do that. What's the pros and cons on this one here? Well, the pros are that, we're telling you that these things will stop you from getting it. We're telling you that these things will stop you from passing on. We're telling you it'll stop you from going to the hospital. We're telling you it'll stop you from going 6 feet under. Okay, what's the cons? A couple of A4 pages with various different things. Myocarditis being a big one there. What else there? What else have we got there? Blood clots? Yeah, okay. Anything else? Strokes? Okay. Case of the suddenlies? Yeah, hard to pass on that one. That's what I would say today on that one. That is absolutely out there stuff. And those media outlets should be held accountable for what they're doing. That is disgusting to say the very least. Now we'll jump on to this here. This is Hazel's wife, Patrick here. Greens, the Green Party, another party of complete and utter wasters. You've got Eamon Ryan now that's flying across. Where is he for Paddy's Day? Is it China? Is it China? It's going across to China and it's going to make some great deals, okay? It's just going to say, okay, guys. Could you imagine him over there? Hi, guys. Could you not assume they're aiming, no? Is that not better for the environment, isn't it? It's always you people as well, too. The very ones that are saying that you need to be worried about the environment are the very ones that are doing things that are totally hypocritical as to what they're saying. I said it during the week. I had a poll on Twitter. It was interesting to see it. And what I did was I put up, I said, like, if I was leading the country, I'd ban the Green Party. And I think it ended up something like 88% agreed with it. I was like, would you ban them too? 88%, I think it was. Could be lower than that now. Could be about, maybe it might have dropped to the 85%, I think, maybe. I'll have to do it anyway, but it was very funny. I had a good laugh at the very least. 85% agreed with it, and 15% said no. So just ballpark figures in that one there. And I said, that's quite interesting. And people's main point for not banning them was, you just can't ban them. Okay, what's your argument then? Is there an argument to keep them as a party? None. It was just, oh no, you can't ban them. That's very negative. Whoa, hang on here for a second. These are people that decided to sign up Ireland to complete another nonsense over the sniffles. They're the same people that decided to sign up Ireland to, oh, you can't cut the turf anymore, burn the turf here, but we can cut it and we can ship it out. We can spend it, we can expend our stuff over in a foreign country. What? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, we don't want people driving around with petrol or diesel cars. We want it electric. Okay, but the lithium batteries that you need to get from, that's very bad for the planet, though. And not only that, then it's super expensive then to replace that. And what happens then if you haven't got a grid that can keep up with the energy that's required? Brainless stuff, lads. But ultimately, this was a party that helped prop up the government when it came to segregation and discrimination in this country. So, if you please, I am happy, and I would be happy for these people to be banned as a party, because they have caused nothing but problems. And look at what is running around the party now, and has been. Eamon Ryan, who's leading it, who has called for, well, in my opinion, has talked about in a previous video that I showed you, that he was talking about, if I had my way and there's a one world government, he's like Dougal out of Father Ted. And I mean, to me, I was like, holy moly. And I actually posted that video underneath the tweet poll that I made. There was a couple of people that responded to it, and they were like, holy moly. And a lot of people saw it and then just decided not to respond any further, because it was like, well, he's talking about a world government there in a dictatorship, and you think that me banning them is bad? So that's him. That's the leader of the party. Then you've got Hazel, who's been knocking around. So this is our wife there, running around. This is an individual that has just inflamed situations and it's called all sorts of nonsense. Apparently, someone that holds a position in the legal profession but doesn't seem to be able to string a sentence together. It's very interesting that that's probably why she's in politics. Anyway, you've got this one that's in the Green Party. And then, of course, then you've got the cherry on top of the geek-filled cake, and that is Roderick O'Gorman. So you've got Roderick O'Gorman there as well, too. And there's a guy, and his name escapes me now at the moment. I think Satirga will probably let me know in the chat. There was a guy there recently that was calling basically for a Ministry of Truth here in Ireland. Now, think about that. That is out there stuff. The information that's coming out there, we should be the ones that are holding the key to it. And not only that then, but if you're saying something that's conflicting with our narrative, then you're a bold boy. Seems to be that book seems to be coming true, guys, and it's ever more so getting in your face. So this is what you've got here now. Anyway, so this is Patrick. It says, glad to be hosting the coalition against hate crime in the AV room today. It's never a white guy, funnily enough, by the way. It's very interesting, that, isn't it? It always seems to swing one way. We are discussing the upcoming hate crime legislation and how hate crime impacts on individuals and wider society. Hate hurts us all. These people seem to very intensely dislike the Irish people. Seems to be an awful lot of individuals that are running around that seem to have no care nor thought for the Irish people nor Irish futures. And I've said it before, and it's just something to paraphrase about too that Colin said before. You got to care about what's going on with the living. And future is very important. The past is very important. But the present is extremely important. And this sort of nonsense that these people are talking about out there with, like, was it 15 people in attendance here? Pure and utter trash. They're talking about hate crime. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what. You're creating an awful lot of issues because you've decided to let people into this country that shouldn't be here in the first place, and now people are starting to draw conclusions themselves. I can count on 15 pairs of hands how many times I've seen videos that have originated from America that all involve one specific group of people engaging in mass brawls every time. And there's even a famous meme that's out there now at the moment that's Yogi, Bear, and Boo Boo. And it's like, is it them again, Yogi? It's always them, Boo Boo. it's, it's absolutely brilliant. But this is the same sort of stuff that's going to be happening here in this country. And these people want you not to be able to point that out and go, look at what's going on over here. Like Sweden, I have a friend that lives in Sweden, and he was saying to me, he says, the police over here, he says, took ethnicity off of reports. And I went, you're joking me. And he said, no, I'm not joking. He said, I'm dead serious here. He says, they took her off it because they didn't want to be able to form a poll and a percentage of who was committing what crimes. Now, luckily in America, we have that ability to look at statistics, and it seems like, what is it, 3% of the population are responsible for something like 50% of the crime. Now, you can take a guess as to who that relates to. These people are saying, don't talk about it. Oh, stop. And you know me, and I'm going to be consistent when I say these things. My thing is this: we have enough doorboards of our own without importing more doorboards. And like I said before, this always only swings one way. There was even a recent story there that happened on a school bus where a young white girl was assaulted. It doesn't take a genius to figure out by whom. And the author of an article of a major publication in America decided to use a stock image of two white people. That's not even referencing what went on accurately. And this is the sort of stuff you're starting to see here too. They're playing the same game, which is why, funnily enough, what's gone on in America, I've seen what's happened there. I've seen people that are excellent creators here on platforms like this, like Salty, that he's seen it, he's talked about it, and I'm like, oh, I recognize what's going on there because that's happened there. The only thing is about Ireland is viewing this and has gone, what did they do in Florida? They banned this? Fantastic. Let's get that going. And that just quashes it straight away. So that should be the next thing where people should be pushing for this stuff to be banned, quashed, nowhere near to be seen. Because as you and I both know, this is only going to swing one way, and it's very clear as to what way it's going to go. All you have to do is you have to look at what happens to Graham Carey, for example. You only have to look at what happens to Enoch Burke, And again, just to bring it back, words there, guys. Words. Now, I know who the perpetrator of what yesterday, what he looks like. And again, it features into what I'm talking about. Still out on the street. Carey was in custody until they got him in front of a court, from what I understand. And also then had Enoch Burke in the place for 3 months. Ultimately, over what, guys? Words. Well, that's interesting because the fella who was driving the car through the crowd out on the street in 24 hours. That's very strange, isn't it? So these types of things are going to just increase. They're going to keep trying to sweep them under the carpet. That's why incidents that have happened, they want to just move on from them. There seems to be no word again since the story had broken from Finglas at the time. Doesn't seem to be any word at all. So we have to keep waiting on that one there. But the longer that drags on, it certainly doesn't look too good. And it all comes down as well to uniforms not holding press conferences and being transparent with people. That's what I would like to say. And I think that's what we need to see. But this is only going to swing one way, and it's not a good way for us because, especially when you see the people in here that are starting to get nervous about the truth being told, they're starting to say to themselves, how do we stop this? How do we stop people running elections against us? And how do we stop these people from being able to say what they think? And that's important. If you're able to say what you think, a lot of people are going to buy into that. They like the truth now. For years, we've dealt with people telling comfort and lies. Now, the honest, cold, hard truth is coming out, and people are like, yeah, I'll have a bit of that there because I'm tired of the lies. Now, I apologize, guys. I don't apologize on this channel an awful lot, if ever. But I apologize for hurting your eyes at this moment in time with this obscene poster. Now, what you'll notice from this poster is that there are multiple groups the same thing. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's like 7 of them, I think, in this. Anyway, there's like 4 different groups anyway from just kicking off there. They are all basically the one thing. They're all the alphabet group. So why do you need 4 different pictures of that? Oh, that's right. You're just trying to fill up the poster. Yeah, well, I know that I do. Everyone knows that. But look at the nonsense that's happening here. And do you know what? As I keep saying to people, this is great. This is a gift. It's like Sean Bean. Again, going back to Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is just obsessed with it at the moment. That and the Matrix, obsessed. Lord of the Rings, Boromir. Look at it as a gift. It's a gift. The one ring. This is essentially the one ring, lads. because you are seeing all of the baddies linking themselves in together, and fantastic. I'm delighted that you've done that, because look at the groups that are together. Black and Irish, again, I said that in the video, have a stew on that and see what you think about that. Bohemians, that's not the Bohemians football club that hired a fella called, is it Israel Akanade? Is it Akanade? That's not him, is it? And that's one of the individuals allegedly, speculatively, that have been playing for that club that have had some very troubled pasts, we'll just say. There's another one as well. That's another one there. What we got here? Justice Massey. I think, is that not led by a fella that was deported and then just never left? A failed asylum seeker from South Africa and just won't leave. Anyway, you've got this here, SIPTU. The unions are totally and utterly co-opted, by the way, just if you haven't noticed that, and it's more and more clear now, totally done, like finished. And it's sad to see, because I'm telling you what, a lot of people in the generation before mine, for sure, they believe in unions. And a lot of friends of theirs are in unions, they were in unions themselves, but these have completely and utterly buckled and fallen, and are just fallen in line with all this nonsense. Look at this over here, TUI. That's a secondary school teacher union. Were they anywhere to be seen for what happened with Enoch? Don't think so. But they're going to be lining out with this sort of nonsense here. Interesting, that, isn't it? What's happened in the teaching profession recently? Oh, that's right, yeah. They're saying that they want people that are foreign to be working in primary schools now. Yikes on that one, guys. And in secondary school, they're also, what are they trying to do? They're trying to introduce some very out there stuff under the guise of SPHE. I don't know about you guys, but they're on the wrong side of history here, in my view. You've got this here as well. It says it all. This is offensive to the eyes, I'll just say that here. Drimna for all, something I highlighted in the Christy Moore video. North side for all. It's never south side for all or anything like that, isn't it? No, it's never Dalkey for all. Weird that, isn't it? Never Hout for all. Never Clontarf. Never Clontarf for all. Isn't it? It's never Dunleary for all. No, it just seems to be average working class areas. That's quite strange, isn't it? People before profit. Left bloc. Sinn Féin. So Sinn Féin have thrown a lot in with these. Look, Sinn Féin, Labour, People Before Profit, Social Democrats. Anybody that wants to argue the point that Sinn Féin are going to do anything for this country are gravely mistaken. Look at what they've thrown a lot in with, guys. Look. Well, here you go. Now I have it from very reliable. From a very reliable source that these would 100% join with these to be in government. Now, as you and I both know, both of these wanted more restrictive lockdowns than what was doled out. They're also calling for some out there stuff, and that comes in the midst of the leader of this party having caught the sniffles, being an older, unhealthy woman herself, and she was fine. Social Democrats, just posting them for the moment. What's the story with Owen Hanley there recently, lads? Any update on that there? Any update? Have the Gardaí arrested him or anything at all? Sock Dems, any chance you're going to talk about that now? Gary Gannon was recently talking about things like that, far right and all that. Any comments, Gary, on the Owen Hanley situation? What's going on there? Any updates? What's the story with that? Weird as well too that the Sock Dems are included in this, given what's here as well too. Also, that's kind of strange, isn't it? Anyway, trademark Belfast DWI. I said it in the Christy Moore video, but what an appropriate image to be linked in with all of this, Make it that what you will. Forza Belong, Dublin City Community Co-op, Outcomers. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I saw that there, I was just like, does that mention Groom by any chance? You've got this large Africa. So you've got Africa here, Africa here, Black and Irish. What do we think about that, guys? Do you know what? 1.2 billion people on the continent of Africa. Ireland, what's the native population here? In and around 4 million. We be the minority here soon, guys. Yeah, just so you know on that one. That's the way that these people are making this country out to be. Have you looked at adverts recently? Some people will talk to me and say, oh no, I think you're looking too much into it. There's a brilliant page on Twitter that's called Africans and Irish Adverts. Phenomenal it is. And it's just documenting every single time. I think it was like Powers whiskey even. There was a bottle of whiskey and your man in the middle of it was like Morgan Freeman. It's like, Oh my god! On Post had another thing as well too, Jordan, the week on Instagram, an advert, and I swear to God, this is what I'm starting to do now. I'm like, okay, how long is it going to get into this advert before they show a black person? And it was like, 15 seconds, black person. I was like, there you go. They're as Irish as you are. Oh, they're as Irish as you are. It's called the Magic Dort Theory. Called the Magic Door Theory. They still have Nigerian accents and other African accents, but they're as Irish as you are, don't you? Oh, yeah, sure. Same way it would be looked at as if I went over there and be like, by the way, guys, I'm Nigerian now. I can only envisage how that would end, and it wouldn't be well. It would not be well. So, Men's Development Network, Immigrant Council of Ireland. So, to me, a who's who of bad guys. Irish Council for Civil Liberties. On the missing list over the sniffles there, but of course can wheel themselves out for this one here. Smithfield Boxing Club. You've got another one here as well. Not quite sure what that says, too small. Dirty Trades Union Council, Outhouse. Is that like, I mean, they all have the same colours. Isn't it weird how they have the circle and all these rainbow colours? That's very thin, in my opinion, to this. Have you ever seen it, this Agenda 2030 thing? Same colours, ring, the whole lot as well. A lot of people have been talking about it. And they're like, it's the new symbol from 1930s, 1940s, and then good call. That's a good show. That's a great show. Gay Health Network. So another one. There's more gay stuff that's here than anything else. That's really interesting, isn't it? Oh, weird, isn't it? And the fact of the matter is, here's the thing. There's based patriot gay people that are like, no, you don't agree with any of this. You guys need to be becoming louder in your communities. And I mean, I say your communities, and not that that's a segregational type thing, and it's what they've done. But you guys need to be starting pushing this stuff back. If goofballs there like Meatball and Molly McCann that's out there being like, I'll be there tomorrow if I could be, push back on that. Be like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? They want to talk to you about Tommy Robinson, but Molly McCann saying that she'd be there tomorrow. Why? Sure, you've got nothing to do with Ireland. Why would you be turning up at one of these things? What's the story with that? Oh, well, I'm actually from Liverpool. What's that got to do with anything? Did you not see what's been happening in Liverpool? Did you not see what happened there last week? No? Same sort of stuff that's going on over there is happening here. So you've got Limerick Movement Against Ism. Great stuff. Great to see all of this nonsense. But anyway, what will be interesting to see, guys, is how many people actually turn up to these things, because you can bet your bottom dollar, a lot of organizations here now, they're even talking about giving people free buses down to these things so that they can get as many people as possible. They're getting people on the phone. I've seen Edge Memes and the Nail. They've been talking up this thing. They've been having a good laugh at it. There were some suggestions online, again, not supporting or endorsing or anything like that, of people ringing up the numbers and booking a seat so that they'd actually have booked up seats that then won't go towards these things. Again, these are things that have been suggested online, not by me. But you're starting to see people now are keenly awaiting how many people are going to turn up to this, and they're looking forward to it. I am absolutely looking forward to this big time to see how many people turn up. So I can't wait. The pressure's on. You see, here's the difference. The grassroots movements have been people that have just decided to turn up. They have had, I would say, little promotion, little fanfare, little awareness, no blue check marks, and still people have turned up in their thousands. Still, that's happened. Pressure's on. Because if no one or very little amount of people turn up tomorrow, and the media is actually sort of starting to report on these things, they're like, yeah, there's a couple of thousand on a protest there in East Wall. Okay. What about what happened on O'Connell Street? Yeah, there's about 200 there. Great. Yeah, that's really, that's accurate. Nice one there, guys. You're starting to actually report on what's going on. Very interesting. So there you go, guys. Diversity, not division. Yeah, just let people overrun the place and do whatever they want. Great idea, guys. That's the same sort of energy that they had for Oliver Cromwell back in the day. Didn't work out too well, did it, for a couple of 100 years? Goofballs. Quick swig there, guys. So let's keep going. This came from I think it's the RTE protest. This is the sort of energy I like to see. I love it. Wanted. He didn't take it. In bed with the gang there. Luke O'Neill, spoof scientist. I love it. I love the energy. Fair play to the people that have created this. I love the energy. It's great. Crimes Against Humanity. Boom. Love to see it. What else have we got? I think we have it in this one. Wanted. Claire Bourne, RTE presenter. Crimes Against Humanity. Boom. Wanted. Joe O'Shea, RTE presenter. Crimes Against Humanity. Fair play to the people that have turned up to do these things, because this is the thing. These people are hoping to just slink on by, and so that you won't notice this stuff anymore and that you won't talk about it. These people have to be held accountable. These people should absolutely be sitting inside a 6x6, even less than that, 6x4 jail cell forevermore for what they've done. And this is where elections should have consequences going forward. And that's why you need to be running for local councillor positions, local TD positions. These people are trying to stack the deck with these things. And these protests are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm fully on board with people that are out there that are promoting the Irish people. But you need to see people starting to rise from these areas, these specific areas. It's something I've called for before. And are going to start taking constituency seats. Now, I've seen a bit of infighting over the last week with a couple of different people in different parties and that. And that's not the sort of nonsense that needs to be happening. Instead, what these people should really be doing for the betterment of the country is sitting down together and strategically coming up with a plan, like the other side do, because this is what they do. Have you not noticed that no one very seriously contests certain constituencies? Because they haven't made out between each other. Yeah, listen, we'll look after that there. You go over there. You're a stronger candidate there. Yeah, boom, in you go. Do you not think that's what they do? I can actually tell you that's how they do it because Owen O'Brien, that's how they got him in. They moved him around a couple of different constituencies. He failed, I think, in two of them and ended up getting in on the third one because they were able to identify it. There's a position over there. Now, do you think that they just done that themselves? In my opinion, no. So this is why the likes of parties that are trying to become serious parties and are saying that they are serious parties, they need to be sitting down with other like-minded. You don't have to agree on absolutely everything. But, oh my God, you need to be sitting down together and start saying to each other to strategically come up with things. Because if you're splitting the vote in an area as well, that's going to cause a problem. And I've said it before, moving Philip Dwyer out of the National Party was an extremely bad move. And a lot of people looked at that and said, well, we're not into that now at all. Personally, I think that the Ireland Force one is going to be a good one. I think it's got a good message. I think it's got a good symbol that people can look at and they can buy into. I think it's a great idea. That's my feeling. The Irish Freedom Party, I like the name, but that's about it. Like, I like what Herman Kelly said before, but I mean, he's in a picture before with Greta Thunberg, so I'm not really buying into that either. And then there's other people that are out there that are running around doing things, and it's great to see. But what needs to be happening now is there needs to be more cohesion. You need to be gathering together and strategically saying, this is where we're going to contest and how we're going to contest and who we're going to contest with. Because no point in putting someone into an area that's not going to do much. And what you need to be doing is you need to be fielding people from those areas. Because I think it was really clear, and it was something that I thought about an awful lot after the Fingers protest and about people that were there that were locals. And I said to myself, you know what? That's the type of energy that's needed. You need a local in these places. You don't, like, and I mean, I'm saying that for all places. Like, I don't think, for example, if you're from Tallaght, I don't think it's the most intelligent thing to do to go out and try and run a Meath. I think that needs to be a person from Meath that can speak to people from Meath, that they will all go, oh yeah, hang on here, this person's in line for us and is definitely on the same wavelength. Because you put a person that's actually from Meath up against the likes of a Yemi or whatever like that, or an individual from Nigeria, that person should be absolutely cleaning up. And this is what needs to be happening. I mean, an Irish Git in his constituency, a Stephen Kerr in his constituency, Satirical Soldier in his constituency. I know probably wouldn't want to do it, but I mean, the Dave Cullen, you know, why not? Philip Dwyer for sure. I mean, Paul Murphy's own post on his own Twitter, I threw a poll underneath it. Who would you vote for, Philip Dwyer or Paul Murphy? 95% said Philip Dwyer. It's real clear and obvious to me. So that's what needs to be happening now, and that's how you get on with these things instead of creating people that are just butting heads with each other, and it's just not going to go anywhere. There needs to be a next movement, and that's what's frightening these people in the establishment, because they're like, okay, guys, the protests are bad. We're going to try and quell them. We're going to try and stop them. But if people start emerging from them and start saying, right, okay, getting our heads together and strategically looking at constituencies. That's why I like, for example, Gavin Pepper. I think what he's doing is a good idea. He's from Finglas and he's like, I'm running in this area, and he's just a local lad. I like that. And that's the type of stuff that needs to be done elsewhere. Very important. State to pay hotels $605 million for hosting scammers, in my opinion. The total bill for accommodating scammers in hotels has reached $605 million. Paddy, though, don't turn on the heating during the winter. It's going to cost you 800 balloons. Like, absolutely absurd stuff that's going on. And we've all seen the videos, the images coming out from these hotels. Don't seem to fit in the demographic of what is actually in the blue and yellow flag waving country. Philip Dwyer did the video on it when he was out in the airport. Remember that one? Talking to the guys, where are you guys from? We're from the blue and yellow flag waving country. Sounds like you have Indian accents there, guys. Oh yeah, we're from Kashmir. hang on. What age is this? We're all over 60. You don't look any more than 25. But hotels now, just as you know as well, I don't know whether I have the article down below, but certainly it is happening. Hotels now are refusing any further contracts with the government when it comes to this because they're afraid. This is what the hoteliers are saying. They're concerned about demonstrations outside of the premises. Good. But what needs to be happening is people need to be taken, and in my view, I would be a fan of it, taking note of who has bought into these things. City West, for example. I would never spend another penny in City West ever again. Absolutely not. And I do think that's what people need to be doing. They need to be looking at it and saying to themselves, no more. I'm not going to be giving money to them. I'm the same way in my own life. I give me money very Scrooge McDuck with me money, and particularly when it comes to businesses that were happy to discriminate against me for the last few years. Very Scrooge McDuck. Telling you now, pubs the whole lot. Like I wouldn't step foot in certain pubs ever again. So to me, guys, I think that's what we need to be doing. You need to be holding these hoteliers accountable and the hotels accountable, and they're showing you their hand. They are quite upset about what's going on, and they realize now that they have to get on side with the public. It's just 20 social media accounts that are causing this bother, by the way. Just 20, really big turnover. But over $500 million been spent to host foreigners in our own country. Meanwhile, the prices for your groceries have gone up. That's a very American word, isn't it? The prices for your shop have gone up. Your electricity has gone up. Your mortgage is going up. Your gas has gone up. Your petrol. Everything's gone up. And yet they're out there now in the media going, yeah, this one here, Gabjet, this is another one. That's another foreign individual that was deciding to get involved in the last couple of years with the Sniffles post. Now, utter nonsense, in my view, for the government. Mad stuff, guys. I've got this fella here. I mean, this fella is just a meme as such. I've started talking to a few publishers about releasing a book about my life. Now, this is what these people do. They get involved with publishers and they get a deal and they end up then, I was going to say running. And I was going to say running with it. But in his case, a bit different. How was it that it was a Wolverine called him there, and what was it? The X-Men, Professor X. And he's like, this is my my right-hand man, the Cyclops. His name is really Scott Summers. And Wolverine's like, huh, what do they call you? Wheels? Anyway, if anyone thinks that that's a bad joke or anything like that, you can get off it, because what this fella did himself, that's way more negative than telling a joke. Anyway, this is a fella that's supposed to be a comedian and take a joke. No, it's too woke, guys. It's too woke, About my life, crash, drinking, overcoming guilt, etc. Did this fella spend a day in jail for what he did? Did he spend a day in jail for anything that he did? No, he didn't. What's happened since then? He's done tours. Yeah, that's right. He's been on RTE, has he? And now he's talking about a book deal. I tell you, if I was the family of the other fella, I'd be livid over this situation. I really would. Fingers crossed it all works out. I've told my story before, but in bits and pieces. It'd be nice to get it out in one solid lump. Firmly believe my story can act as a powerful deterrent to people out there who are heading down the wrong path, but also as an inspiration for those who maybe need to push on and overcome whatever their demons may be. It's absurd. This guy is absurd. This is a fella that's regularly on the wrong side of history and regularly makes the wrong sort of comments. He's out there now saying that people that are out protesting in their own areas because of the second plantation, these are negative individuals, according to him. Another fella that's not a fan of Andrew Tate. Really weird. I think it's very strange how these guys don't like fellas that are traditionally masculine or anything like that. You have your own opinion, I'm sure, about him. But it's really weird how guys that are out there with the slumped over posture like this fella, that are individuals that you wouldn't be looking up to at all, are the ones that are going to be pontificating. I think not. And again, a guy who hasn't spent a day in jail for what he's done. Weird, that one, isn't it? Satirical Soldier was showing this one here, and I have to be honest with you, it kind of says everything that you need to know. Look at this. Now, I had someone that recently contacted the channel, and they were like, Ninja, I don't think you need to be pointing out how these women are unattractive and these people on the whole are unattractive. You're wrong. I'm going to keep doing it. People love it. And it's important to point it out. And the reason why it is important to point it out is because it's like this. Just going back to Lord of the Rings, it's like walking through Middle Earth and looking at an orc and realizing that's an orc, and usually the orcs don't do negative things. And I'm just going to look the other way. I'm going to pretend like that orc doesn't exist. And next of all, the orc is beside you, and you're like, you need to point out the orc and call the orc for what it is. And this is exactly what you're seeing here. You were seeing an individual where an outrageous jumper. Who is voting for this? Who is putting this person where they are? And you've got this fella over here. I mean, you know what he's called. He called it himself in the media and what he was called in school. This is another snob. Another fella that was on a bridge looking down the nose of someone asking him questions and was giving them facts and figures and asking the question of, have you talked to the people of Eastwall? Why would I talk to them? You're not going to talk to the people that live in the area, but you want to shove people in and you want to say refugees welcome. Are you refugees welcome in your own house? Bet you aren't. Spoofers. But look at this. Fits in with what's going on. I know it's a circle zoomed in on it as well too. Look at the shape or lack thereof. It's like the new poster from Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you see that? Yeah, Nebula. Nebula used to be. I mean, Karen Gillan is a very attractive woman, but they decided to just completely frumpify her like this thing, like Mrs. Doubtfire. Look at that, and that's what's running around the place, and that's what they want to be pontificating to you. Nah, no chance. That's an absolute banger there, that one, I have to say. Because remember what he was up to. And the Bourne one. That's linking off, by the way, all thinking that, it's, forget about that there, guys. No, we won't be forgetting about that. And fair play to the people that are reminding people about them. Because that's what they're hoping to do. They're hoping to use this whole situation at the moment as a bit of a smokescreen. And so that people won't wake up to what's going on. Obviously, I'm not going to show you this video in its entirety or anything like that. But this happened in Limerick. And these are two fellas. One fella wielding a St. George. Would we call it a St. George now? I think we might. Wielding a St. George, attacking this guy here, and does some pretty serious damage. This is in the middle of a street in broad daylight, as you can see. Doesn't any police hanging around. Now, not to think that they're like, Inspector Clouseau or anything like that, just hanging around every corner or anything. But the fact of the matter is this is going on. This person is recording it, and an incident has occurred. If you're on Gab, play the video. I'm sure you've probably seen the video yourself anyway. But this is out there, stuff happening in broad daylight, and this is what we're talking about when we're talking about people being brought into the country and not being vetted. And funnily enough, it's that same demographic again. Weird. It's weird. Now, not all of that demographic, but I'm just saying that when you're bringing people in that have come from the likes of tin sheds and mud huts, and you're telling them, come on in here to civilization that has been rocking on there for a couple of 100 years that seems to be having its head screwed on. Well, when you get these people rocking over here then, and are being told then by people in the media that they're oppressed and all this sort of nonsense, results like these end up happening. So, important video for people to see. This is also another very important video. I thought this was an absolute banger because you're starting to see people now starting to get involved with these things, and they're going, no, I'm not having this now in my area. I'm going to start getting involved with these things. These people are not having free reign here. No chance at all. It's a great video. Let's have a look.
So here, these wank stands put out for Saturday, free from. Well done to Stephen Bedford, live streamed himself driving over a working class protester. That's what the people in North Dublin think of these figures coming in on Saturday.
Brilliant video, and that's what's happening now. Counter posts are happening, and I've seen it as well too be bandied about on social media. People talking about the likes of polls, because this is what these people are using lampposts and polls and stuff like that to push these sort of messages across. People are talking about putting stickers. Again, I'm just reporting on this. I'm not saying nor endorsing nor supporting anybody doing it, but people are talking about sticking things like that up to make more and more people aware. And you can see the feverish sort of behavior from the other side, that when certain stickers go up now, that they try and identify it and collectively try to come together as quick as possible to try and scrape the posters off or stickers off as quick as possible, which is obviously very funny that they're going to those lengths. But in the meantime, people have obviously seen it and have said, yeah, no, I agree with that. And that's another one. That's another banger there as well, because it's a lot of information conveyed in that image and with the words that are there that just goes to town on the narrative that's been posted on the poster there of spoof. They're talking about Marxist ideas and then talking about combating the far right and everything like that. Again, like I said, evil always likes to call good something else, the Christy Moore video. I enjoyed recording that one, and I have to be honest with you, not someone I would really know myself personally or anything like that, but that was funny because it's a guy that likes to be out there talking about he's for the Irish and all this sort of stuff. Anything but, in my view. Polish fugitives who posed risk to communities in Ireland sent home by Gardaí. 4 men were living under the radar here. Great. That's fantastic. And probably many more there. So sent home, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that they were sent home to their own country, or do you mean that they were sent home to wherever they're living here? We'll wait and see. High Court quashed permission for 698-bed student accommodation near UCD. Millions been spent on people not from this country. Student accommodation, forget about it. And especially over in the south side. That's really weird, isn't it? Weird. That's very strange. Seems to be every single time. Christy Moore, by the way, another guy that was involved in having a planning permission thing be quashed in Doggy, is all of a sudden thinking that everyone's welcome in the place. Strange, isn't it? Weird, that one. I've also seen it, by the way, as well, too. I've seen a couple of people be conned again by news talk. I'm like, I cannot believe people are being conned. And they're like, look what Pat Kenny's saying. Hang on here for a second. Pat Kenny should be sitting in the jail with the rest of them for what he's been up to. Don't be telling me that he's doing good work by saying that 40% of these things are bogus. Don't tell me he's doing good work. These people are being pushed into this position because people like you and me are going, no, hang on, what you're saying there is complete and utter lies. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt here. Stop. It's like all these celebrities. Celebrities are done. The likes of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, done. Decided to jump on board with all the nonsense and support people who have done very negative things. I'm like, yeah, done. Finished with you. Done. That's it. There's no way back. Union representing workers or RTE sticks to its boomsticks. Well, guys, over motion on exorbitant salaries. Now, that's a very aggressive headline, guys. Is that a violent headline? Is that what that is? A union representing some workers at RTE is sticking to what they use it again. What's going on? They're using boomsticks. They're talking about boomsticks in this regard. It's so flippant. Oh, stop. Exorbitant salaries. You're absolutely right. What's the Ryan Tuberty fella's on? 455,000 a year. Obscene. RTE here, over 60% of asylum applicants at Dublin Airport had no ID. Now, as I keep saying to you, keywords in the article were more than. So 60% is the number they landed on. Now, just think about that for a second and how they word things. Wording things are super important, and how they've been able to manipulate things for a very long time. More than 60%. Okay, so what's the approximate? What's the actual figure? Is it 90%? Is it 100%? Because they're more than 60%. Is it 70%? So that would mean that the large majority of people then come in here anyway, because when you're saying over 60% had no ID. This is a question that was posed by the OLAD, which is, how do these people board a plane from wherever they've come from? How did they do that? How did they manage that with no ID? If you or me went through the airport and decided to just go onto a plane, you wouldn't get very far without an ID, sure you wouldn't. So how come these people aren't being detained as soon as they arrive here from wherever country they've come from, detained where they are, and sent on the first flight back out the door? Because that's what should be happening. 600 million been used to house these people, and then all sorts of problems that have happened since then. And in the meantime, they're telling you, yeah, cough up for your electricity and gas bill. I'm telling you what, I think things are going to go the way things went in the UK, which is people are going to pick a date. I think by the time next winter rolls around and these extortionate bills are coming out, people are going to pick a date and are going to say, okay, we're all collectively not paying on that date. And we'll see how things go from there. People will be moving way much so back towards solid fuels as well. So the Green Party and all will be kicking themselves because people will be saying, he's going to turn on the heating or the electricity. Nah, I'm going to be turning on the likes of the gas. I'm going to be turning on the gas fire. No, you won't be doing that either. That's not what you'll be doing. What you'll be doing is be using the solid fuels. So, interesting stuff. But going back on this here, over 60% of asylum applicants at Dublin Airport had no ID. How did they get as far as they did? Very important question. Taoiseach says cost of living payments cannot go on forever. Payments, though, for foreigners can absolutely go on forever, though, no problem at all. Is that the case? Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, who was under criminal investigation, said that current supports brought in due to inflation cannot go on forever, suggesting that supports will dwindle for families. So, for the Irish people, yeah, forget about that. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to set aside money there for people not of this land. They're openly telling you this, by the way. Is this not treason? Is this not these people going against the Irish people? They're not looking forward to the betterment of the Irish people? No, they're absolutely not. Like what you will, Councillor calls for legislation to ban cigarettes and tobacco products for anyone born after 2008. That's weird timing, isn't it? This stuff has come out as well, that they've decided to go all in on this sort of stuff as well as energy drinks, because it seems like at this moment in time they're rolling this stuff out for children, for babies up to 4 years of age. Of course, they're going to be born after 2008. So why is that the case? Described the legislation, the force of its kind, to whoever had been passed as proactive, and said that the introduction of the law and order is nonsense, pure nothing nonsense there. That's another one that I would have serious question marks around 100%. And what about the people who enjoy having a cigarette? What about them? You know? Totally just looked over and looked past. Goldman Sachs, this is how you know what's going on in this place. Goldman Sachs company seeks not to make 4 million contributions for play facilities and open space in Blanchardstown. Owner of Blanchardstown Centre seeks removal of conditions on planning contributions. Goldman Sachs own the Blanchardstown Shopping Centre. I'm just going to say that again. Goldman Sachs own the Blanchardstown Shopping Centre. It's becoming real clear who's really running the world now, guys, isn't it? And it's becoming real clear who is controlling certain interests here. It's also very interesting that this is the same place, I think of another article there as well, that is opposing the building of apartments right beside the shopping centre. I think of the article down here below. Court orders mother to hand custody of son to donor. A judge in, well, it doesn't even say, Ian has, fair play to the independent.co.uk, they've left that out. A judge in something has ruled that a donor should have custody of a child that was being raised by. Yes, what a win. That's brilliant. What a win. I was like, awesome. Absolutely classic. You don't even have to look at the words here. You only have to look at the image. And every time, isn't it weird, isn't it? It's like if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it looks like a duck, it's a duck. Former Limerick pub to be transformed in homeless housing. The site of the former Eric's pub in Joseph Street in Limerick is to be transformed into homeless housing. I said probably won't be Irish going in, so keep an eye on that if you're in and around Limerick. Chinese electric car brand bid to enter Irish market this year. The Oireachtas there only last week was flagging security concerns with equipment in the Oireachtas being made in China. You can't make this stuff up. After this whole balloon situation, they're like, maybe that country is a problem. Yeah, is this not a country that had a CCP police station operating here? Is that not the same country, isn't it? We have an awful lot of Chinese people running around the place, like Hazel and stuff like that as well, too. An awful lot of people that are causing problems here in this beautiful country of ours. And then now you think that they're a problem as a country, as a nation? Well, how come there was no energy for sanctions for that country over the sniffles? Zero energy for that. But loads of energy from the place over there that is big in terms of gas and big in terms of oil. Loads of energy for that country, but nothing for China. Weird, that one, isn't it? But yeah, keep an eye on that one. Not good news anyway. Some hoteliers reluctant to accommodate asylum seekers amid fear of backlash. Oireachtas hears. Boom. That's how you do things. These people now are on the back foot. Awesome to see. Defence Forces charity launches camo streetwear in appeal for homeless veterans. Members of the public can scan the QR code on items of clothing in order to donate to the campaign, with all proceeds going towards homeless veterans in Dublin. I said, so they're putting foreigners up in their barracks, but not the Irish homeless. Because the article goes into detail about that, about homeless veterans. This is a very clear thing to show people as to where they are moving towards. And I hope that's a Satirical Soldier. I know I always say about certain things that I'd love to see him do a video on this, because I can only get a penny for his thoughts on this sort of behaviour here. People that have served this country, that have put their lives on the line, not only for this country, but other countries that they've toured in, are just cast out. Meanwhile, these barracks are being transformed for people not of this land. It's outrageous stuff. I think what's becoming more and more clear now is that these people that are coming into these barracks are in close proximity to machinery, in close proximity to the likes of boomsticks and other things that are there. And what is to stop them? There's nothing to stop them. What is to stop them from taking these things up and on a whim being told, right, you have to go in and sort this out or do something like that? Because this is the desperate measures that these people are taking. They're literally telling you in the media and through the media that they think you are evil. They're telling you this. They're calling you thugs. They're calling you mobs. They're calling you all sorts of names that they can attribute to you. These people won't think twice about doing negative things. Look at the fact that the current sitting American president told the American people that he would turn on them and that they best come prepared, telling them that they didn't have jets. You know what I mean? And that's a nation, by the way, that have their house in order. Most of those states that have stuff. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you're being told here, yeah, no, don't be worrying about any of that. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about the guy that's turning up to the protest with me and that's on the same side that might be involved in selling a bit of this and a bit of that. I'm not concerned about that person because that very person, you're concerned about them bringing boomsticks in. Well, that's interesting. I think that's interesting. We're housing people there that you don't know, and you've already said that you haven't vetted any of them in military barracks. Is that just me, or does that seem like completely out there? What if these fellas have training and they can overtake the place really quickly, and what if they spread from there? Like so many different things. But this is absolutely shocking stuff in my view. Tommy Tiernan show rating slump at 60,000 switch off. The Tommy Tiernan show has long been the go-to watch on a Saturday night, but it seems people are switching off in their tens of thousands. That's what happens when you bend the knee to the woke mob. That's what happens. And everyone knows. And they're like, yeah, not into that anymore. I called it at the time, predicted it. I was like, people are not going to go. Be interesting to see what his live shows are like. He'll probably stay to Vicar Street now. Don't think he'd do a big arena because Vicar Street you can fill out. I mean, most people could probably fill out Vicar Street and it looked like a big crowd. You know what I mean? He'll stick to Vicar Street now from now on. Stick to smaller places. Won't be in the likes of the Tree Arena or anything. You know? People are wise to it now. Taoiseach and Ireland by low home ownership rates in Ireland. Delighted, you mean? Like a complete lies. Council removes address from website following abuse over Waterford Direct Provision Centre. Mairead Tobin said the persistent abuse she received for over 3 weeks, both online and by phone, after feeling unsafe in her hometown. Yeah, you'll find that people don't like politicians to sell them out. But the important thing is this. I'm not supporting or endorsing or advocating anybody to do anything like this and disavowing it. Take her seat. Run an election against her. That's what's going to cause more bother. Take the seat off her and do it democratically and do it the right way, because this is what these people don't want to happen. They don't want average people running around and making up the rules here in this country. That's not what they want. It's going to cause problems for them. But going down silly things like this, and I mean, all the time, by the way, these people never produce receipts. They never show you, I got a phone call, and someone sent a letter in. Okay, show us the letter. I don't have the letter. Why not? The Gardaí have it. Sure. Okay. Yeah, right. Believe that now, you know. In an age that you live in now, of people showing you everything, you know what I mean? They're showing you what they're eating for their dinner. You can't show me any of this. Goldman Sachs, again, who own the Blanchardstown Centre, Smith's Toys, Harvey Norman, TK Maxx, Lifestyle Sports tried to block a 450 million apartment scheme. The appeals board is due to make a decision on the appeal at the end of May. Now, from what I read beforehand, the Crown Plaza that is in Blanchardstown allegedly also was one of those hotels that was housing people north of this nation, allegedly, respectively. So what you've got here now is nearly a $500 million apartment possibility to be built, and these businesses that have taken a massive hit over the last couple of years are like, absolutely no way. Now just bear that in mind. Just think about that from a business point of view. What do the businesses know? Because if you were a business, let's just put it like this. If you were a business and you're seeing a 450 million apartment scheme going beside you, that's going to have more people in it, is it not? Just let's think about this rationally right now. That's going to have more people in it, isn't it? That means that there's going to be more people potentially frequenting your store. Smith's Toys, Harvey Norman, TK Maxx, Lifestyle Sports. These are all places, by the way, that probably do great business and are luxury items for the most part that would sell very well and 100% in these places. But what do these conglomerates, what do these big businesses know to try and stop this? You know what I mean? Like, what does that say? Are you telling me that the people that are going to live in this apartment are going to have kids? So that means then that's plenty of business for Smith's Toys. What about Harvey Norman? You're telling me that these people won't need electricals? That's huge business. But Harvey Norman don't want any part of that. TK Maxx, discounted items. You're telling me that they don't want to be selling clothing and all sorts of other things to people around the area? They don't want any part of it. Lifestyle Sports, another one. I mean, people that are always looking for gym gear, they're always looking for football shorts and all the likes of that, but they're trying to block it. Does that not say an awful lot to you when these massive businesses are saying, nah, we don't want any of this here? Because what do they know? They've already probably gotten the 411 on what is to be put in there. This ain't going to be Paddy and Vera, lads. This is not going to be what's going to go in there. And that seems to me like these people in these businesses are indicating that. I hope that the businesses come out and spell it out for people and say, by the way, guys, this is the type of stuff we were told here that's going to go in there. Because that's a very strange thing to do, isn't it? Like I said, from a business point of view, surely you'd want more people in the area that are going to buy your stuff. These people are like, nah, don't want that. That's weird. I'm telling you now, that's weird. That's the story. I'm probably going to do a video on that. That's the weirdest story that I've seen in a while. Like, businesses actively been like, no, we don't want people beside us. That's so strange. That is, listen, if you're working and if you're a high level person in the likes of Smiths, Harvey Norman, TK Maxx, Lifestyle Sports, or anything like that, get in touch. I'll talk to you and I'll listen to your concerns and I'll see what's to be done about that, because this is nuts. That's nuts to think about that. Realism, lads, honestly. CAB to seize 1.5 million assets of senior figure. The Criminal Assets Bureau has been granted an order following allowing it to seize almost 1.5 million worth of assets from one of the most senior figures. What about people that are in the government that are up to all sorts? And what about the media? Nah, crickets. Luke O'Neill, any chance been done there? No, nothing. But they're running after these guys. Weird, isn't it? It's just bizarre stuff. I remember I was recently watching another video that was detailing things about the family, and the business moves that's been made there. People may or may not agree with it, but Drew Harris was there being like, they've accumulated 1 million. And I was like, sure, that's nothing in comparison to what this country is spending on bringing people into the country. 3 billion, nearly a billion being spent and foreign aid being sent out of the country. That's totally out there stuff. That's not been okayed by the people, but that's going on. And then you've at the moment politicians and the media telling you that the likes of neutrality here in Ireland really just means nothing. Nah, don't be worrying about that at all. But they're out running around after these guys. It's mad stuff. The more times they put articles out relating to these guys, the more it just wakes people up to go, hang on here for a second. Because what's it all about? Well, it's all about this, in my opinion, in my view. You've got one guy that has set up a boxing promotion and is doing quite well out of that boxing promotion. So has gone, as some people would say, legit. Now, when it comes to that, just an ordinary head. And these people that are in major government and media now that aren't ordinary heads, these are your toffs, these are your snobs, these are people that would look down upon the average person. And that's why they don't want the average person accumulating that money, because what happens when the average person has something to say? Don't like that. You know what I mean? That's what it all comes down to me. And I mean, anything that has been shown over the last few years is that money and power, that's what it's all about for these people. And that's why they're going after certain individuals. Now, again, not to say that certain people don't go up to certain things, and I'm not endorsing, not supporting, or anything like that. Disavowing 100%. But it does make one think, doesn't it? Career for the Gardaí is simply not attractive to young people anymore. A Garda career is simply not attractive to young people and anymore. Ronan Kroger said, adding that the profession is now overregulated. As I said here, and this is becoming more and more apparent to people now, is the slow move to installing foreign people as police in Ireland. They are slowly but surely ramping this up. And what they are doing is they're showing you with their hand, they're showing you their hand. It's like a game of cards. They're telling you now at this moment, yeah, no, we've buckled that profession so much now that young people are not interested in it. We're diversity hiring now as well. So guys that are going out on the beat and they see that this little 4 foot nothing Tinkerbell standing beside them, they're going to go, well, I'm not going to get into anything here now. This one, what am I going to do? I'm going to hang around here at the speed camera. They're seeing that these people in the profession know there's a massive problem with immigration. They know that this stuff is going to be up to them to deal with, which, funnily enough, now a lot of people have been pointing out for the last few years, and multiple times people in uniform have been on the wrong side of history. And now it's come to the point in time where the stuff is going to start getting very real. And they're like, oh no, I'm out here. Real interest in that one, for sure. But this is a move for them to install people not of this nation. That's exactly what this is about. And look who's heading the thing. A fella that's from the PSNI and a woman then that's from Canada. I don't know about you, but it's not good. Minister for Justice Simon Harris called anti-immigration protests thuggish, mobbish, intimidatory behaviour. you'd want to be applying that to yourself there when you're coming and looking back at the last couple of years about the sniffles, when you were engaging in behavior very akin to that, when people didn't want to take something that was an experiment that doesn't seem to have worked out too well at all. And you were like, no, we're going to not let you into the pubs, the cinema, clubs, gyms, whatever it might be. And then we're flirting with the idea of doing it in your workplace. No, I don't think you have any platform to stand on and try and pontificate to people. And as I said there, off you go there, count 15. Take his seat off him. Adon or Reardon TD, another fella that's regularly on the wrong side of history, does not recognise Dublin anymore. I'm not surprised, because anybody that walks around the likes of O'Connell Street or anywhere else in Dublin and has a look around them doesn't hear an awful lot of Irish voices, doesn't hear an awful lot of Irish accents, and instead looks around and is like, where am I? Because you're seeing all sorts. And a lot of these countries aren't sending their best, by the way. None of these countries are hanging on to these people. The people that are running around with certain outfits on that run around town, very similar to the football club of Roma. The countries that they've originated from don't seem to be very interested in hanging on to them. That's strange, isn't it? A lot of these places, well, too, in Africa, they don't seem to be very interested in hanging on to their people that are coming over here. They're not sending their best. That's not what they're doing. They're not sending their best. There's not recognised Dublin anymore due to its atmosphere and far-right misinformation on migrants. That's how you know you're panicked. That's how you know things are changing, because people are starting to wake up and starting to go, hang on here, we have an issue, there's a big problem here. We're starting to look around and jobs are being occupied here that would have been occupied by us before. Health service now is at an all-time low. Who's running around in that profession? That's people not reading from this country, so they don't really give a shit. Who else is running around these things? So do you want to do it to the teaching profession next? Wait, you see what's going to happen to the teaching profession, guys. That is going to go down the tubes. Seriously, this is the same sort of stuff that happened in America, by the way. They put all these professions down into the gutter, and they'll do the same here. So this is what's going on. What's happening is people are getting ahead of the curve, which I think is great, and I think it's important. Human rights group raises concerns over Chinese cameras at the Oireachtas. These cameras, guys, they come from China. Yeah, listen, I could have told you that. Stevie Wonder probably could have told you that this was an issue, but no, only an issue now, only a problem. Any sanctions going for that country at all? No? Oh, really weird. Very strange, that one. I think that's strange altogether. And that is the show for this week. I've kept it in and around the 2 hour mark. I'm delighted now with myself. Keep it concise. I think it's super important, and I appreciate it. I've had about 180 people in the chat tonight. That's absolutely unbelievable. Thank you very much for watching live here on a Friday night. I know an awful lot of people give up their time, and I appreciate that. All 180 of you now at this stage. I'm going to just jump into the chat now, say hello to people and say good luck to people. So that's the news portion of this out, and obviously as well the Clown World commentary portion of this stream. What I'll do is I'll see you next week, 7:30. Looking forward to it already, and I'll talk to you then. So jump into the chat and see what's happening here. Sean Mack says we don't need Gardaí following Tommy Robinson around Dublin, and also trying to link him to Irish patriots and peaceful protests. We'd agree with you on that one. Yeah. Philip is back in a couple of days. Nice to see that. Right, saying we've missed the protest there. Is he? I wonder if he's on Rumble. I must have a chat with him and see if he's on that there, because that'd be good to move more people, migrate people over to there. I think it's quite interesting to see. By the way, people have been talking a little bit more about the alternate tech, and I think that that's a good idea for sure. Now, just jumping into something here. We've got Carla in here. This is Mr. Knight. Good to see it. Big shout out, by the way, to Poppy, Saoirse, Cueva, and Oisin. Big shout out to them. And we'll jump on. We keep going. Sean Mack, Christy Comey Moore. Lads, good stuff here. Fergus obviously is good crew here tonight. Lou Graham wants to hit the like. Chat fine, remember to like and share. It says 30 minutes. Much appreciated. Keep going through the chat now. Accident Advocates says Ninja Knight, good evening. Love your streams. You're doing great work for our Gaia people. Thanks very much. And I mean, look, it's very much appreciated. 100%. All the kind words. Irish Red says Ninja Knight, you forgot about our time protest. Well, apologies to Irish Red. Yes, our time. Absolutely. Dan's mixtape is in here as well too. Says evening, good to see you here. It says Bedford is only 26. Yeah, allegedly, expectedly. Looks about 60 odd. That's what leftism does to you guys. Makes you look old. We've got that there. Hang on just for a second there, guys. Tangent 5 says, great stuff, Ninja, as always, and your chat, the best. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Thank you for being here. Very much so appreciate it. Zoe Goday says Enoch may not look it, but he has more roadie than anyone in this country. If we were in a 1916 style situation, you'd be an incredible leader. I think what's interesting about the whole situation is that he still rocking on, and it seems to be that there's more and more chatter about him now, and it seems like things are starting to swing in his favour a little bit because you're starting to see the court now start to be like, oh, this is dragging on here now. That's nearly a year it's going on. And it's pure nonsense. See how it goes. Sean Max is acting in it. Nice to see here. John Gleason's greetings from Luton Beds. Yeah, a lot of people talking about the car incident as well. Zoe Gilday says, Ninja Knight won't lie. I'm mostly here for the Varga impression. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Please do the impression. Thanks.
Well, I like guys and telling lies,
Oh, hey, says Ninja Knight, please, everyone download the sneaky government publication Resisting. 104 pages long, but take note of the plans. Yeah. Sean Mack says Conor McGregor would walk the presidential election. Yeah, I think it's going to have to be done. I am very seriously, and I mean this, with the talk of Bertie Ahern, I'm very seriously contemplating putting a video together and basically saying you need to run. He's a dude with money. He has his own media company with I think it's called the Mac Life. Great social media presence, calling her out, would be a wrench in the machine works for sure, and could be someone that stands with the people. Remains to be seen though. Has a lot of money, doesn't need doesn't need the headache. You know what I mean? And this is what it would be. It would be a serious undertaking, I would say. Satir Gassage says President Knight. Go away with that. Yeah, a lot of people have it. It's funny enough, I'm seeing this card that says Ninja Knight, there's shenanigans afoot. So yeah, a lot of people actually are. Sean Mack, another good one there. It says Philip Dwyer for president. He'd be a good one. Be excellent. Part of a 101 forces, McGregor 2-weight world champion, standard by the regime constantly should be on board with us. Yeah, look at the way they're going on with him about the cars now, that they're just chasing them left, right, and centre about things. Pure nonsense, Michael D is a steward for the government. Says Hub rock and roll. Keep going here. Big shout for Philip as president. Yeah, I'd like to say that. Irish Reds is Ninja Knight. We need to get Scooby and the gang on the case of the mystery of who voted for the Green Party. Irish Red, yeah, read me minds. Honestly, it's baffling. I keep asking people if they voted for them. Absolutely nobody comes back and are like, yeah. Art Hostage says tomorrow's protest is a trap. Bobby Robinson is a Trojan horse sent in to store it up, cause problems so government can say anyone questioning the inflow of people are violent istophobes. That's an important and astute comment. I think a lot of people are starting to ask questions for sure. And I think it is always important to ask questions, I think it is seriously important. Let's keep going here. Yeah, we've got a good comment there from Pub Rock and Roll. It says, I've no kids, but plenty of nephews and nieces. They're just as important to me. Fully agree with you there. Yeah, fully agree. Simon Harris. Satirical Sergeant, I can't read that one out. Yeah, but he's a interesting character, that Simon Harris, Imagine being a fella in uniform, someone that's benching, I don't know, 60 kg. I know that's not much now. A lot of people would be like, sure, that's 2 plates in the bar, Ninja, I know. But 60 kg, we just plant that in your mind now. And next of all, you see Simon Harris coming in. Hey, guys. It's your gaffer.
Hi, guys.
15th count. Here he comes in.
Hi, guys. I'm going to give you the body cams, and these people are going around that they're like, they're saying to you, hey, people need to be vetted coming into this country. I don't agree with that.
And then you've got the other fella behind them going,
well, look, guys, like, we just have to be keeping an idea on the far right, okay? Okay, these people that are nationalists and patriots, they're just istophobes, and they're pointing out things now like, I'm half Indian and I was wanting to commemorate the black and tans. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, personally. And, these guys, they're just out there, okay?
Oh, stop. Quick swig. Oh, lads. Mark 14 says, Ninja Night Hughes, thank you from Galway. You're amazing. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. I'm humbled by comments like that, honest to God. I know sometimes I don't sound it. Sometimes as I move through the chat, I'm like, I need to move through. But humbled every single time I get positive feedback and positive adjectives aimed my way. We've got Jerome Reading here, says, how are you, Ninja? Good to see you here. Saquad Barkley says, Ninja, what do you think of that Muppet Lambert at Bowes? Don't know much about the football club, if I'm being honest with you, on that one, or who's involved in it. But now, as a club, that they're into all of this nonsense and are giving it the time of day. Rams Unfiltered says, Barkley Ninja Night, if you want them to answer, bro. Point there, nice and Lambs. Lambs is in here. He's back. Used to be Lambs, formerly known as Karpaki. Renews Era says, even Ninja and everyone, hello to Sir Turkle 2, you legend. Fergus Power says, Ninja Night, he's 36 in dog years to head now. Oh, stop. Oh, man. Carla says, I've seen that page. The Ukrainians looking for Botox on there. So that's the Ukrainians Northern. Nearly 10,000 people in that. That would definitely be a good place to enter for content for sure. You know? I think that'd be a cracker. Let's keep going. Yeah, Blue Ground One says to be replaced by more puppets. For sure, that's the plan. They are hoping that these people would just be moved on. And it's kind of like a recast in a bad movie or a TV show. They know that it'll buy them a little bit of time. But I think what is happening is there's more and more people that have, for sure, started to realise that, okay, there's a big problem going on here and it's going to continue on. And that's why you're seeing changes being made. Like, I mean, look at what happened in the UK. The UK stuck in the old, what's your woman's name? Liz Truss. Was it in like 2 months that you were like, oh, I need to get her out? And they just replaced her with your man. But he eventually got what they wanted. But still, he's under severe pressure. And some of the videos that have been coming out as well, too. I think he was in a homeless shelter or somewhere like that. And he was like talking about banking. And your man's like, yeah, I've been homeless on the street here for 10, 20 years. Like, that's looking at him like, what's happening? Anyway, let's have a look. Leon Curtis here says, good evening, Ninja Night, and all you lovely folk. Hope all's well. I'm out and about this evening, so just popping in to say bye. Or say hello and bye. Hope all's well with you, Leon. Hope all's good. I'm looking out through the chat there. Yeah, a lot of talk about Judge Nolan this week. Very interesting to see more and more people starting to kind of take the mick out of it a little bit too. Like, there was an incident that occurred last week or the week before, and there was people writing underneath it being like, I hope Judge Nolan's on the case there, you know, and they were taking the mickey out of it, and like they were mocking it as how silly the situation was, and how silly it is to have a judge that's in there that regularly gives out suspended sentences for out there stuff, guys. Orbital Bacon's in here. It says 100%. Good to see you here. A fellow Transformers fan going to be going on to Orbital Bacon's channel soon. You know, the Transformers community for sure. And now I'm talking about, you know, the Autobots and the Decepticons, the real Transformers, you know. Very soy, and it's up to base people to come together to be like, hey, look, there's more of us here. It's Tigger Soldier, another Transformers fan too. Fergus Power says, Ninja Night, this house is in a hostel. How does he afford a car and who paid his bill? Seems he's very close to a certain commie. Allegedly, you only get locked up here if you're, you know, broke. It's very true. Very true. We've got Orbital Bacon says you have to accept the rainbow, but they hate our way of life. They do. They do not like it at all. And you don't like when you point out, hey guys, we've got people coming over to this country that are up to all sorts of shenanigans, and you're just like, don't be worrying about that. Okay. Jerome Reedy says Ron DeSantis will be next president of USA. I don't think so. I think it's going to back to Donald. I really do. I think, again, way too much money. The state of Florida wants to keep him there. There's a lot of infighting there as well, which doesn't make sense to me. Like, if, again, obviously Trump knows more than we do, but I think what would have happened in my mind to be, again, just talking about an American situation. I mean, a Donald presidency with a Ron VP, you do 4 years, you come out then, and Ron does 8 then as president. You know, that would have made sense. But it doesn't seem to have been the way that they're going about it. So again, after 4 more years, like it's going to be more problems and into who will lead the place next. So I don't know. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how things go in America. What ends up happening in America inevitably affects us, And if things are going well over there and things are running right, it does have an effect here. Look at how things have just been deteriorating since what happened in America. And they've just gone overboard with it here now. They've gone overboard with it here now because of the stupidity of what's happening with who's running the show there. It's just second to none. And they've all just decided to cash their chips and gone, we'll go all in. Cash their chips. I should have said put all chips in and said, we're all going to go in on stupidity here, pure and utter stupidity. Clep Olin says, I've been telling them all in tonight. They laughed, now they're crying. I warned them all, now they see. A lot of people, yeah, for sure. A lot of people won't talk to me about things like that anymore, and it's a shame. It's embarrassment, I think, from these people. And look, here's the thing: I'm hopefully going to be keep bringing these conversations up because that's what I like to do. Brew says Gary Gannon, another lad elected by the people that are following the rainbow flag and women's voting transfers. Yeah, I mean, look, it's clear to see what happened with Gary Gannon now, in my opinion. He was obviously told, like, you're not getting in, and then transfers happened, and it was like, well, you owe us now, and this is where it's happening now. It's kind of like the Corleones, isn't it, really? Like, you think about it, and you say to yourself, well, or maybe even you might say the Sopranos, we're going to do you a favor, but remember, like, when we tell you that we need a favor, you best give us a favor. And I mean, what Gannon is doing is a career ender for political power because next election comes around. Like, how can anybody vote for him other than probably his family? Really strange behaviour and just happy to sell people out, particularly the Irish people. We don't need any more of that now. We need them people going. I thought actually recently at one of those protests that they had with the lads there, it was a woman saying they heard the yards, man. The lads were all having the flags out there being like, don't do anything with the Quran. You can see where this is going, guys. Let's keep going here now and see what's going on in the chat. Flying it is here. I'm only at like 20 to 9 here on the chat. I'm an hour behind it now at the moment. The Turkish soldier can't think of your man's name. I'm right about the Ministry of Truth. Can't think of your man's name. I can't now for the life of me. I'll have to do a video on it though. Turkish soldier says Senator Marie Sherlock wants to take control of the social media giants to regulate speech on their platforms through government departments. They're all getting super nervous about this, but see what's going to end up happening is people just migrate from here over to Rumble, and then that's that. Like, it's the same with Telegram. Telegram really bothers them. It's super bothersome for them because there's a lot of info getting out there, and those memes and images and videos are being shared there, and then they're getting out. I mean, anybody that knows the Turkish soldier, like his Telegram is brilliant, and how frank he talks about it. He was wearing a jersey there last week, and these people went absolutely mental about it. But they went mental about it to like 15 people. And the point was just made then by Stergo was like, look how ridiculous these things are. Good stuff. Irish Red says, Ninja Knight Don't Make the Kids Angry is a great book to open people's minds to diversity. Sure. For sure. Keep going. I can't think of the name of your man there at all. That Korean politician that was interested in doing that sort of stuff. Sean Mac is caught up there. I caught up with that video earlier on. Jason Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, these posters are a sign that the far wrong are on the ropes, and now they're really trying to force their agenda on people. This is the difference between us and them. The grassroots movements have been wonderful to witness, and I know what I'm saying is I think political people should emerge from this. The right people, by the way, not people that are just jumping in and going, oh yeah, and you've known what they've been up to for the last few years, which is not much. But I think that's how it needs to go. But I do think it's quite interesting to see the other side panic so much now and just totally out themselves. It's great. Irish, that's an oxymoron. Using that holy Jesus. Janie's in here, says, how's it going? I meant. Steve Dixon says, your man from Lord of the Rings, the driver of the car yesterday. Oh, stop, lads. I tell you. People with Sinn Féin and the thing there with the rainbow flag. Nice Red Sense Files. Thank you, Ninja, and everybody else involved in the channel. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, man. Blue Ground 1 talks about the former BBC presenter called Jimmy was alive. He said he would be on the poster having issues with the so-called far right. Jim will fix it. Yeah, 100%. I'm telling you. There's no doubt in my mind that if Jimmy was still walking around the place, that he'd be on there now. No problem that they'd have him pushed forward. Absolutely no problem. People talking about who owns all of these groups as well, for sure. Yeah, people are knowing what's going on here in the chat. Tangent says, I'm going to Nigeria and get me a place in one of their universities and promote European culture studies paid for by the Nigerian taxpayers, of course, and call them IST in the process. Best of luck. Let us know how you got on. You probably won't last 4 days. You know, that's how diversity and inclusion works out in these different places. They don't tolerate it at all. Meanwhile, in these Western countries, people are listening to it and are dealing with it instead of telling people where to go and what to do with themselves. You know. OH says, yes, well said, Ninja. The egos need to be set aside for the greater good. Yeah, no, I'm fully in on that. You know, fully in on that. I think egos need to be pushed aside now for the moment and things need to go right. Occident Advocate says the National Party needs to get Philip Dwyer back on board. That's an interesting comment for sure. I think a lot of people have been calling for that now, you know. But I don't know if Philip feels that he would want to do it. I'm not speaking for Philip. I'm just saying that if you were the party by now, after what he's been doing and how consistent he has been, you should have been doing that, in my view. I think removing him in the first place has been a very bad move. And since then, it's just kind of, there's nothing been going on with them, really, you know. George Story, I'm just making an observation, that's all. Philip and Derek Ploy will get elected. I'd love to see it. I think it'd be great to see. Holy J says, your woman Yemi targeted the Asian vote in Navan. It's huge. That's an interesting one. We'll have to get a bit more info on that one. There's a lot of Asians in Navan, is there? That'd be fairly interesting to see. Bainey says, Law Ninja at 902. Not quite sure I was down there. Ryan Q says, why has McGregor not spoken out? He is betraying his working class roots. Would they pay his fee, turn on the vulnerable Irish? McGregor has been saying things, and what's happening with him and what has happened with him on social media is he's posted stuff and then he's deleted it, which has been super critical of. I mean, he's critical of Paul McGrath, which was a big one because he was just like, he was born in England, you know? And I was like, whoa, like that's an interesting one that woke a lot of people up, which is true. To a Nigerian father, by the way. And sports ball has been used by these people to try and turn people's heads. Now, McGregor at the moment is in Las Vegas for the next few weeks. He'll be filming the new season of The Ultimate Fighter, so he's probably going to be quiet on that front. And then he's going to fight Michael Chandler then later on the year. But more bad timing, I would say, in a way too as well, because this probably would have been the time to get him on board to say, look, but I still would probably do it. I probably would think about doing a video being like, look, if a presidency comes up, you need to run for it. You know, he's flirted with it in the past. And he said about as well too on Twitter and on social media that he stands with the people in their areas and the likes of East Wall. So I think he's been firm with that one. I do think if he'd turned up to some of the protests, I think that would have carried a lot of weight with it. And we've seen some of the other people that are out there that are fairly high profile in that world, in the MMA world. They've been up at these things also, you know. It wouldn't be known by everyone. But that, I agree with you in that point insofar as if he turned up, I think it'll bring a lot of attention to it, you know. People in the chat being like, get the poster off the screen. It's disgusting. I agree with you. I had a hard time looking at it, you know. Like, oh my eyes. Janie says you're a good fella, Ninja. Much appreciated. Yeah, Carlos says genuine people from the blue and yellow country went to Russia and Poland. Yeah, I heard a lot of that, by the way, Carlos. A lot of people just went, we're heading to Russia now. And that was that. Because a lot of them feel that they are much more linked to them. They speak the language. Yet there's people that have skipped many countries to come to here. It makes sense. You know? Neither does the previous census polls as well. Orbital Bacon says, pointed out they're disgusting. Yeah, 100%. And that's what they keep saying as well, too. You know, these people that are out there, the Mrs. Doubtfires of the world, Satirical Soldier loves that, by the way, just as an aside. The Mrs. Doubtfires of the world, like when you keep saying to them, like they're spouting at you. There was recently, I'll just tell you a quick one. I was on Instagram and I was asking a question to a person who worked for Hasbro about one of the videos I've done before. I was like, hey, an item's been cancelled. Most of Europe didn't get it. What's the story? What's the update with that? And weirdos took it upon themselves to respond to me. And I was like, do you work for Hasbro? And they said no. And I said, okay, move along. So I'm asking the man who works for Hasbro, you don't work for them. And they're like, yeah, but there's nothing going to be done about it. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the man who works for Hasbro. And then one goofball came in and was spouting out at him and was just like, I'm identifying as they, them. And I was like, you just like, get away from me. You're a weirdo. Disgust me. And then they were like, oh, how dare you behave like that? What do you think about people like that? And I was like, disgust me. Said it again. You know, I do not need any other comments from you. This person came back again. And I was like, listen, why are you looking from validation from a fella that has actively told you that he doesn't want anything to do with you and you're coming back again? This person went mental and was just like, I hope you never get Victory Saber. I was like, couldn't even buy it. I'm just doing a report for people out there that were interested in this. And you goofballs come in here then and start to spout out as if you work for Hasbro, defending the company, and then I end up then showing who you really are. And I just like laughing. I'm like, oh, that's who you really are, you know? But yeah, once you just keep telling them, no, you're disgusting me and all that. It's like this whole Hogwarts legacy thing with the Harry Potter thing. If you just say to people, there's too many people walking on eggshells instead of being like, no, that's shocking, that's disgusting, get out of the way, you don't damn me entertainment. That's it then. It's over and done, you know? It's been, and it's sad in a way. I've seen it as well. Like you see it from some of the YouTubers that are on here that are sucking up to the company, and what they do is they post really kind of just bland videos that won't say anything because they're hoping that they get an interview with the Hasbro teams. And the Hasbro teams, by and large, the Transformers team seem like a decent team, but the rest of them just do not care. And these people are just towing the line every single time for people that have pronouns in their stuff. The stuff is woke and it's just being pushed upon you, and you're like, nah, I'm gonna call it what it is there, you know. Fergus Power says, originally I can see Sir Steve-O with Steel Wall on his lap in the not too distant future. Oh my god. Remaking the final scene of Thelma and Louise. Oh lads. Paddy Foley says Ninja, like Saints and Scott, is a beacon of truth in the mire of commie RTE, Irish Science False News. Thanks very much, Paddy. A big shout out, by the way, to Saints and Scholars. Always forget to shout out them. Very solid channel also. Yeah, a lot of people very agree, very much on agreement that, you know, man, Bedford shouldn't be walking around the streets now at the moment. You know, as I said before, you've got Enoch in jail for Woodies, the Bedford fella running around. Madness. Absolute madness. Let's have a look there. Sean Max says Gardaí arrested two very negative people at Dublin Port in two separate arresting incidents there around 2007 and 2008. A Czech or Polish individual and a Hungarian Gardaí tipped off by Interpol and was kept quiet by the media. Sure, like, could you imagine the people that have been walking in here? There's another one I'll say to you as well. There was a documentary that I watched a couple of years ago. It was based on a nun in America. What was the name of it? Anyway, I'll just tell you the guy's name. There was a priest that was involved, allegedly, and had been involved in very, as you know, you have to dance around on this platform. It's the worst part about it, rather than calling it as it is. Had been doing very negative things for sure, and was placed in Ireland by whoever was above him. This guy's name was Joseph Maskell, Joseph and Maskell. Have a look at him. And as far as I know, then was working, I think, allegedly with the HSE. And some of the questions at the time, and then went on to do things allegedly here in Ireland. And people were like, how did this fella who was under investigation in a different country arrive here and then was allowed onto into prominent positions and then do other things? Like, it's been a long time that things like that have been happening in this country. And I mean, as I said before, if you're someone that's wearing a uniform and you know about certain, you know, what would we say, rings of power, if you know about them and you're not actively out there telling people, fill out the wire, satirical soldier, Irish Gettr, like, if you're not telling those people about these things and letting them know, you know, that's dark. That's very dark. that you know that these things are going on and you're not talking about them. Should they? You know, you need to be transparent. Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, my buddy was asked to show his papers on the tarmac getting off the plane. Oh, stop. That's one of the things that I've always found funny about going away and coming back to Ireland. You're always greeted by someone that's not at the land. You're like, lads, it's hilarious. You know, place is inverse at the moment, but I think we'll get there. I think things are starting to make a big turn. When these people end up, Janie sends $4.99. Thanks very much. And I think people are starting to turn on it now. And I think, as I said, if the working class areas aren't having it anymore, and these people go to the likes of your doggies, that's when you're going to see all out people be like, all right, guys, we said refugees welcome, but we actually didn't mean it. Kevin McMahon says, remember the chap that brought a boomstick into Mount Joy in a skip lorry? Yeah. Brett Boland says, Irish Ninja Night, you men of Ireland, stand up for our constitution, protect all women, children of Ireland, for sure. DGTUS says Paddy's Day parades will be interesting next month. Yeah, that's going to be super interesting. I haven't heard much now about that, but I think for sure my view on it is that if people were at it and booed it, I think would be a good message to send. And again, it's peaceful, it's respectful, and it would cause, I think, some interesting audio things to happen, particularly with people on the ground. If they were recording and people just booing, like, here's what RT showed you, here's what actually happened. Important things. Tangent says that Mairead Tobin story is bollow. Ninja Knight, she was only just co-opted after the passing of her father, who was a counsellor. The media playing games. Jason Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, please show everyone here the poster for the parade on March 17th. It's really good. I'll probably do a video on that one, I'd say. Nola or Moriku says, did you see Simon Harris stopping a passport scheme for rich people? Most of the applicants were Chinese. Well, they're buying up properties all over the place there and across the world. They own an awful lot of real estate. Point Man says Sky News released an article saying a sniffles infection is as good as two companies beginning with P jabronis for protection and immunity. Now the left are trying to make it out that was always the narrative. It's great. Great to see the backpedaling. Arnold the Saxon says hit that like button. Thank you. Much appreciated. Keep through the chat now. I'm getting through quicker this week, guys. Dennis Carney's in here, sent 5 super sticker. Much appreciated, dude. Good to see you here. Let's have a look. Yeah, a lot of people are in agreement there as well when it comes to the police quitting. They're like, oh, they can see the writing on the wall here and they know it's going to be them on the front line. Yeah, but that's where it's coming when they have the built-in opportunity then to go, okay, guys, we're going to just put the people that we've just let into the place into uniform. That's not going to work out well. So Dirk Soldier says, very enjoyable show, Ninja Knight. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Let's have a look now. Keep going. It's the Arnold. Sends out there. Tangent sends voice is great stuff as always, Ninja, and your chat the best. Thanks very much. Mark Wright sends heart from GB. Fine appearance says Aaron Gabra. Thanks, Ninja. You're very welcome. Lonzo Unfiltered says Ninja Knight, great to listen to in the background. Thanks a million, great stream. Good to see it and good to know that people enjoy it. Very much so appreciated. Let's keep going here. John O'Shea says Conor McGregor as president is a terrible idea. Listen, better than Bertie Ahern, better than Luke O'Neill, you know. Bertie worse, of course, that's a John O'Shea. Nice one. Thanks for following up on that. I was like, bear with me for a moment. Bear with me. Bear with me on that one. Keep going here. People are having a good time here. I'm only at the quarter mark now. I'm getting through these things quicker every week. Dennis Carney says, Ninja Knight, can I give a shout out to the Little Wishes organisation? Totally off topic, but do great work for cancer survivors and need support. Unfiltered says, Yup Ninja, a legend. Yeah, Blue Graham ones like yours gets putting out great videos. Yep, absolutely. Jason Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, there will be plenty more positive feedback where this is coming from, my friends. Thank you. Much appreciated on that one, dude. the chat are very at odds when it comes to Tommy. It's very funny to see, you know. Look, my point is this: I think what he's done with relation to taking on gangs in the UK has been good, for sure. But a lot of people are questioning the linkage to what can we say? How do we say it? People of great influence around the world that Kanye was talking about. You know what I mean? There was some good questions surrounding that, and I see those points as well. You know, like I like what Rebel News do. You know, but I don't think there's any getting away from some of the people, and specifically the names. The names you're like, you know, and it's like even the Daily Wire, for example, as well. Daily Wire are the same. Like it's just a different side of the coin, but still been run. You know, I'm a Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor or some man came into the UFC very late though. Having a good laughing with each other. And tonight it was called the Keepers. That's yes, Roy Fred. That's what that was called. Yes, the Keepers. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Now, I'm not endorsing anybody to support Netflix or anything like that, but if you get the chance to see this thing called the Keepers, have a look at it. It is wild, and the one thing I have to be honest with you, the story's wild, but then when they're like, and he went to Ireland, I was like, oh lads, no way. No way. We've got the Glitter fella that used to like the holiday here, the Jimmy fella from the BBC that used to holiday here, loads of other characters, and I say characters, I use that term real loosely, around people that like to come here to this place. And then this dude, it's like, wow. Wow. Cardo says, Ninja Knight on the Torrents again. Put the Torrents down. Put the Torrents down. Aren't that great though? Nice chocolate. Clap on says Ninja Knight, you're one amazing gentleman. Thank you and great sense of humour. Thanks very much, then. I take that again. Like I said, comments like that just ball me over. Thank you again. Cheat Dog says good night, Ninja Knight, and all the good people in the chat. Ryan Brooks says Rowan Keaton still thinking of the presidency. Oh, Keaton, that'd be one. That'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it? He's an interesting character, but I don't think so. No, seen was it the Sun recently was on some sort of reality TV series and made no impact. It was like, Sons and Daughters of Ireland says love your work, NK. Keep it up. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Joe Keohan says, heard you on Toby Spaces. Very happy to have found your show. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Yeah, big shout out again as well to Tots Toby on Twitter. One of the people who was asking Elon Musk for me to be reinstated and then brought me into a Twitter Spaces. Like, I think it was the week that I returned. He was like straight on and was like, would you like to come onto a Twitter Space? And I was like, yeah, of course. Once I figure out, listen, I have been out of the Twitter game for over a year. I don't really know how it works. And he's like, it's easy. And then I jumped in and I was like, okay. And then I found myself like forgetting. And I was like, am I talking too much? Is it too much? I'm sorry. I apologize if I'm talking too much here, you know. But great chat. And it was really interesting because it's the way it's done. Like as Toby was explaining to me, he said it was like a Zoom call. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then as I was talking to other people, it was good laugh. Like it was good fun. I was thinking it was something like 2 hours on it. I only intended on being in for a little while. And 2 hours later, just zip by. And great fun. A lot of people getting involved. We've got Zoe there that says Rowan Keaton is the definition of a pathetic soy boy. Oh, stop. Accident Advocate says, will tomorrow's demo be live streamed by Philip Dwyer? How hilarious would it be if Philip turned up and was asking them questions like, any chance he is signing up on this website here for housing these people at all? And I think it'd be brilliant. Oh, stop. It'd be absolutely cracking. Very funny. Anyway, guys, have a good weekend. Look after yourselves. I'm hoping that there's more content that comes out tomorrow because I enjoy it. I enjoy having a laugh. And I think what's really clear about this whole situation is that people are enjoying having a laugh and they're realizing that the side with the momentum is the side. It's great to see. Keep it up. Keep the protests respectful. Keep them peaceful. Stay vigilant at these protests, by the way, because these people are going to do desperate things because desperate times, desperate measures from these people. They have told you what they think of you. Act accordingly and keep yourself very protected and vigilant with what's going on. Thank you to all of the mods, by the way, that have jumped in here tonight. Huge thanks to them. This show doesn't keep going without them. And again, it allows me then to jump into the stories and then be able to jump into the chat then later on. So huge thanks to them. Thanks to everyone that's in here listening, that's commented in the live chat, and thanks to everyone that's listening after the fact. Talk to you next week. Good luck.